Good evening. Welcome to Casual AF, the gaming stream. So casual. 99% of the time, I don't turn on a video game. We don't even talk video games. Yeah, but we're gonna tonight, late and get late. It's like 10 seconds, Pox. Calm down. But we are gonna have Pox on it at some point, and we are gonna talk some video games. We'll do that shortly. Check your DMs, Pox. I'll send you the links soon. Because yes, Helldivers. Jeez, that's gonna be fun. Pox is on the scene. Pox is mad. Pox mad, bro. Craig, how are you?
Oh, living the dream. Wait, that's your line. I'm doing okay. I switched gyms. A lot of things have happened in the last week. A lot of news in my life. Nothing spectacular, pretty banal news, but I switched gyms for one. So I have about 30 days left in my body. But because I needed to give them notice, which seems stupid, but and then I've already started with Good Life, and I went and toured the Good Life Fitness near me that I'm probably going to be going to, and it's a nice gym, like lots of equipment, lots of machines, lots of floor space, huge turf area, which is really nice. Yeah, and they've got at Good Life, they've got that Planet Fitness like round station where you basically go machine one, machine two, and it gives you like a full body workout when you just go through like 6 or 7 machines, and by the time you're done, you've had a full body workout.
Yeah, the
They
circle
have
train.
those at Good Life as well. And
Nice.
and I'm like, this is nice because if I don't want to think about my workout, if I want to take a break from doing my splits, I could just, you know what, I'm going to do a full body today. So yeah, still haven't hit my ideal weight though, which is tough. It's tough for me to do because I'm like, I want to get down to 210, but I'm worried that might make me too lean because I also want to pack on muscle, right? And then I asked AI, I'm like, hey, what was Chris Evans' weight for the role of Captain America? Well, he was 225 pounds, and he's my height. He's 6'2".
Mm.
Right now, I'm sitting at about 230. So I need to like shrink down and then bulk up. That doesn't make a lot of sense. I kind of just want to like drop the weight but get to the muscle mass that I need. I know it's not easy, but
Well, there is this idea people have where you either have to cut or bulk, and it's like
yeah,
that's doesn't make any sense.
body
But
recomposition they call it, where you just
yeah,
basically you're changing, you're losing fat while gaining muscle. I think the thing is it's not as straightforward, and it takes longer to do because you have to burn off fat while you're building muscle, and it's not as easy.
no, yeah, like I mean, you've got to eat at a caloric deficit, but have
Right.
enough protein to pack on the muscle, which is
And that's
what
what I'm
starts to
doing.
get tricky.
I
It's
am
not
eating
great
at a
for your
caloric
stomach.
deficit. I am eating a caloric deficit. Whether I'm getting enough protein, I don't know. I'm trying to. I think I could probably cut the carbs down by another third. So, and the fats I could probably cut down by half.
That's a lot though. Like, and that's the other thing is you were telling me last week you had done pretty consistent 500 to 600 calorie deficit every day.
Yeah,
If you're trying to recomp, that's
yeah.
probably too much. That's probably like it's probably too low.
You think, eh?
Yeah, like 300 calories below maintenance would be better.
Well, so far this week, for the whole week from Sunday to today, I'm at 2,164 calories in on average, and on average 3,546 calories out. So I'm like 1,500 calories surplus or under budget on average each day. So you're saying I'm 1,300, I guess. Like right now, I'm about just under 600 calories shy or under budget right now.
Yeah, because it's just it. The thing is, it's more likely to make you tired. So you just won't have the energy to do enough work to
Yeah,
put on muscle mass. Right. Now, on the other hand, you told me you hit a new PR.
I did.
So, like, I could be talking out my ass, and it's working for you. Keep doing it, but just be aware that you don't have to be at a severe calorie deficit.
No, I
Like,
know.
you should steadily lose weight at about half a pound to a pound a week, but you may not notice it because you're putting on muscle mass.
That's
Like,
the thing, right?
pay more attention to how your pants are getting looser
Oh,
and your
are they
shirt is
ever?
getting tighter.
Are they ever? I put on a pair of jeans today. So for the longest time, I was a 38. I wear a 38 pant, right? I'm at least down to 36 now. I could probably squeeze into 34s. So, so yeah, I put on a pair of pants today. They were super loose. I had to like really cinch my belt in order to keep them up. Now they were also a baggy. They're like a boot cut jean, so they were kind of like loose anyway. But the waist was quite loose.
Yeah.
You know. So
That's
yeah, I'm happy about that. Yeah, my PR for bench press. Now I only did 5 reps on the first set and 4 reps on the second set, but my PR is now 145. So that's the bar, and then 225s on either end, or 45 and a 5 on either end. But yeah, I did 225s on either end on a 45-pound bar. So I'm pretty happy with it. Pretty happy with it. I think my issue is the reason I'm not seeing the growth in muscle is something that you said. I don't think I'm lifting hard enough. I don't think I'm lifting enough weight. Now I feel like I am. I feel like I'm pushing hard, but I think I'm using too light a weight with far too much volume, and maybe I should be doing less volume and higher weight.
it. Like, okay, it depends. Like, you're telling me you like your sets of 15, right?
That's what I've been doing of late, but I'm not married to it.
Good, because a set of 15 means that is easy for you to lift,
Yeah,
right? If you want to build mass, you have to lift something that's hard for you to lift, almost
right.
so hard you can't lift it. So 5 reps, and it's like, that's it, I can't do another one.
Yeah.
That's the stimulus to build more
That's
muscle.
what put me into hypertrophy, as they say, right?
I guess. I don't
Yeah.
science. I don't know. Like, it's really cool. I've been watching some of your Renaissance periodization
Yeah,
guys, and
Israel,
like,
he's fucking hilarious, isn't he? Do you find him
he's
funny?
pretty good. He's
Yeah,
pretty
he's
good, for a Jew. He gets a Jew pass.
Jews are funny. There's so many comics that are Jews. What are you talking about?
And
Anyway,
he
yeah.
but it's just interesting how modern like bodybuilding science, athleticism science is doing a lot of confirming a bunch of shit we already knew.
Yeah.
Like, you got to lift more weight to build muscle. No shit.
You ever watch a guy called Thomas DeLauer?
No.
He does he cites a lot of studies. Most of his stuff is into supplementation and nutrition. Like he clearly is it works out hard because he's jacked, but he also talks a lot about this recent study of this particular supplement proves that it can be used to do this, and this, right? Anyway, he's been singing the praises lately of TMG, trimethylglycine, as a supplement. If you take about anywhere from 3 to 6 grams per day, or 3,000 to 6,000 milligrams, which is normally it's 1,000 milligram tablet. If you take anywhere from 3 to 6, it can really help you convert. It helps in converting fat, or metabolizing fat, I should say. So, because a lot of fat, it takes a long time to metabolize normally, but this is supposed to help sort of kickstart it. And he's cited it a couple times now. So I've been taking it, 3,000 milligrams a day. When I remember to do, I take it with food, so I'll definitely have it at breakfast. And if I remember, I'll have it at dinner, but I don't always remember at lunch. So I need to start remembering to have it at lunch.
And that's fat you eat, right? Like, not
Yeah, it's not going to take the fat it's not going to help you burn the fat you exist. It's helping metabolize any fat that you take in, right? It helps you better metabolize the fat that you consume going forward. I'm sure it probably helps burn fat over the long term as well, but you're doing that through exercise, right? So anyway.
I have a wag me Jim story. I'm glad. See, this taking notes thing is great. It's like, fuck, I would have forgotten all about this. So at the gym this week. I'm in the locker room. I'm finished. I'm changing back into my street clothes, right?
Yeah.
And there's a couple of like teenagers in the locker room, and they're chatting and shit. And it had to happen eventually. It's a gym. It's a locker room. Some guy comes trudging from the showers,
Who? What?
dripping
Sorry.
wet. He comes trudging from the showers.
Who? Steroid guy?
No, just some dude. I've never
Okay,
seen
yeah.
him before.
Yeah.
Dripping wet, stark naked,
Yeah.
no towel. And my first thought was, oh, okay, I guess maybe this guy forgot his towel. Well, wait a minute. How do you get from your locker all the way to the thing with no towel? And then right? And the thing is that, like, it's a gym. What are you gonna do? It's a locker room, right?
It's a men's locker room where men are. Like, why do you fucking care?
All the teenagers just sort of shut up as this guy he's now standing in his locker. Still doesn't put a towel around his waist. He
likes to air dry. What do you want?
Okay. And one of these kids takes it in stride, just looks at the others and says, sometimes it be like that, though.
Sometimes it'd be like that.
But hold on. Eventually, this guy gets his towel, and he's toweling down. Now, I'm not looking directly at him. That's rude.
Right.
I can just see in the corner of my eye as I'm doing my shit. He towels down. He then proceeds to put on his socks and put on his shirt before he puts on his fucking shorts. Just like, yeah, like hang down,
like your
let's put my golf shirt on.
Now,
what?
Curious. Now, you said you didn't really look. You just sort of saw him out of the. Is he a well-endowed fellow?
That's what I mean. I don't even know. But just at one point, I realized, oh, guy's got his shirt on. I don't have to like avert my gaze. Oh, apparently I do have to avert my gaze. What the fuck? Who does that?
Yeah, you find your underwear. Normally, what I do. Now, here's the thing. I don't always shower at the gym. I come in my workout clothes. I leave in my workout clothes. I come home and if I shower at that time, or I shower later in the day. I'm not super jazzed on hygiene, as they say. Not being a nude from the waist down, Jeff. But yeah, normally if I do shower at the gym, the first things I'm putting on are my gitch, because from there I have to put everything. Like, you put your underclothes on first, because you have to put your outer clothes or top clothes on top of your underclothes, right? So yeah, it doesn't make much sense to me. Maybe he was going commando. He was just going to throw his jeans on top.
But it still doesn't, like, okay. Size queen swipe left. It's just a regular penis. And it still just gets in the way if you don't contain it.
True. Like,
the first thing I do is put the holster on it so it's not, getting caught in a drawer.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Like, what? Who does that?
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. You should put your gitch on first. All things being equal, getting dressed, you put your gitch on first. Typically.
Just makes sense to me.
Yeah, different strokes for different folks, man. Maybe he's an air dry kind of guy, which is why he didn't have a towel. And then maybe he's also, he's gonna go commando. So he's like, fuck it, I put my shirt on, then I put my pants on and tuck my shirt into my pants. Maybe that's why. Anyway,
craziness.
So this is just further confirmation. You have to start in your own gym, and that'll be one of the rules. Put your underwear on first.
Yes. There's the correct way to do this.
Fuck. I had an idea for a gym.
There's
this thing near Movati. It's like it's almost like an escape room, but not really. It's called Activate. I don't know if they have them around your area. But basically, it's like an athletic obstacle course kind of thing. So you go from room to room solving puzzles, but it's all physical related. So basically, you might have to light up a bunch of squares by throwing like basketballs at them and stuff like that. Or you have to sink a number of baskets into a certain time to unlock the next room kind of thing, right? So the idea is it's an athletic kind of escape room kind of thing, right? Sure. And I was thinking, what would be cool? To have the lifter's dungeon, which sounds a little sexy, but sounds a little like risque. What I mean is, like, you have a gym set up where everything you do is to get onto the next room, but you have to lift something. So maybe you have to lift the big fucking portcullis to get to the next chamber, and then maybe you have to do like a farmer's walk with a couple of like heavy bags of gold, and you got to get them over to the other end of the. So you're like playing D&D, but it's all lifting related D&D stuff.
Nice.
What do you think of that? Would you do that?
Probably.
Yeah,
because I don't do enough farmers walks.
yeah, nobody does.
But eventually, you want to graduate your farmers walks into farmers runs, right? And then you want to move on to farmers long jumps, and that preps you for farmers swims.
Farmers swims. Yeah, I prefer farmers lunges, weighted lunges, right? Use brain and brawn. Yeah, so if somebody wants to be a wizard in this little fucking dungeon gym, there's going to be some like math problems I got to solve or whatever. Like there'll be a treadmill that they need to open the next door, and the guy, the sprinter has to run on the treadmill, but the brainy guy has to calculate the speed at which the treadmill must be running in order to open the door, and then put the setting on the treadmill for it to happen. Yeah, Pox is just go work a farm at that point. True enough, right?
Yeah,
or go scrapping with Pox. Do some scrapping.
Homesteading for the win. So I had topics.
Good on you.
Should we just get Pox in here? I'm gonna.
Yeah, I want to hear his take because I'm still kind of in the dark on what all happened. You kind of gave me the Coles notes of it, and it seems like ridiculous that they would do this, but yeah, I'd like to hear his musings. Fuck, it's warm in here. I gotta turn this fan off.
Pox, check your DMs.
That's better.
Yeah, so Helldivers pulled the old bait and switch with
Sony,
with its customers. And the backlash is fucking real. The backlash is enormous. There's like a class action lawsuit to get refunds on the game and shit.
He wants the link in Discord because like he's probably on his phone, and he doesn't have Facebook on his phone.
It is douche. Of course, I'm going to open Discord and it's going to say, oh, installing 27 updates or whatever. So this could take a little while. I'll
wonder where CMAC is tonight. We've missed her the last 3 or 4 streams.
Yeah, well, she's been busy,
Yeah. Everybody gets busy. I get it.
And yeah, so I'm actually pretty glad that I waited on Helldivers because I was really interested. I was like, oh, this is going to be great. I was really liking what I was seeing. Pox is talking it up like a madman. And then they pulled this crap. What's wrong with Helldivers? They had a cool commercial.
Oh, you'll learn Delta Mega exactly what's wrong with Helldivers once Pox gets in here.
Yeah, they did the bait and switch, right? And suddenly Sony needs you to have a PlayStation account, even if you're playing on PC, right? And I think they're just trying to boost their numbers and everything, but also like Sony is the absolute worst when it comes to security for their clients and for their clientele. That if you're playing with your how many times have they been hacked? They get it's almost like a seasonal thing. Oh, it's Sony hacking season. Millions of people's credit cards information are just fucking out there in the ether now.
Yeah.
And they just don't care. So that's one of the major complaints, right? And also that they offered it up saying, oh no, a PlayStation account will be optional. And then after about 3 months or more than 3 months from the release date, now they say it's mandatory. So it's actually going to be very difficult for people who have been playing so long to get money back.
Right.
right? And yeah, it's but like God, in a day, 150,000 negative reviews.
Craig sent the link. Irving's slow as fuck.
It's still fucking updating. Just relax. I never open Discord anymore.
Oh fuck! I have to do it through the app. If I do it through a browser, it'll take forever. If I do it through the app, it'll be much cleaner. There we go.
Oh, the update's finished. Okay. It should.
Yeah, I only had 14 updates. Why did yours take so long?
Only 14. Yeah, no, I had 15 updates. Agree to their fucking terms of service. Oh, all friends.
I gotta find Pox's. Oh, there it is.
There, it's in Discord.
You send it to him?
Yeah, it's sent.
Okay, cool. You should change the banner from Wag Me.
Oh, I'm waiting for Pox because the banner's great.
All right. Hey, Mac. Mr. Mac is here. Come on up, buddy.
So yeah, it's another game that like I and other people are basically on like an EA Games boycott now.
Yeah.
Because EA forces you to play offline games online.
Yeah.
Right.
Stupid.
So and also for some reason, EA doesn't really take care of their servers that well. So their servers go down all the time. So if you're mid-game, suddenly you're booted and you're not allowed to play because their server is down. It's like, this is not an online game. Right? Like, what the fuck is your problem? Why do I have to link up to your shitty service? It's not like you're providing a great service. You're providing a terrible service.
They want to track who's using their games and who's playing their games and all that kind of shit.
It like even that, like a simple confirmation that, oh yeah, okay. Ping, your game is not
playing this game. Thanks for letting us know. Bang. You know, like yeah. Why not have it written into the code that anytime you fire up the game, your internet connection is utilized to send a cookie off to fucking EA saying Irving Twin played this game at 6:09 today.
And it's not pirated. So good. Now you can continue. So when they go down, I can still play. Do you know how many times I've been in the middle of a fucking football game that suddenly, boom, I'm booted out, and that's it. All the progress of that football game has been lost. Now, hold on there, Pox. We're getting you in the show here. There he is.
Hey, am I coming through?
You are.
We got you. 1 second.
Tears for the Tear God, salt for the Salt Throne, and gas the Leaf Tribe.
Pox Toxic, how are you?
Fuck, I'm not bad.
You're an angry black man today.
Yes, very much so. I'm torn between being super pissed off about this Helldivers thing, because fuck Sony, but at the time, a lot of the countries they blocked were from Africa and China, and fuck both of them too. So.
Yeah, but you gotta recognize there's innocent people there that just want to spread democracy.
Yeah, it's totally bullshit. So
yeah.
Okay, so when the game dropped, right? They had I guess they were, because they're published by Sony. So they were gonna require a PSN account from the jump, but they were having issues with their servers.
Okay.
And because of the server issues, they suspended it and they called it a grace period where you could skip it when you loaded into the game, and it was never brought up or mentioned again until 2 days ago when they dropped an official announcement saying, hey, the grace period's over. So if you want to keep playing, you're going to have to link a PSN account. Bro, I've never seen a dumpster fire. This wasn't even a dumpster fire. This is an entire fucking landfill catching a blaze, dude. It's been amazing. So that's how it started. And there was like instant revolt. Everybody was pissed because a lot of people, like I've got 316 hours in the game, and I didn't see like that there was, like I said, the only mention they had of a PSN account was a skippable page that I saw when you first loaded into the game. which makes you think, hey, okay, it's optional, right?
Right.
Well, now that they're requiring it, everybody's pissed because people play on, like, the reason I play games on Steam is kind of what, like you guys were saying earlier, with EA and Ubisoft. I don't buy their games anymore because you have to sign up for their fucking bullshit, shitty services
Right.
so they can sell your data. You know what I mean? I'm
No, I
not,
hear you, man. And
and
like Twin saying, Sony's terrible for their security.
oh,
I
there's
mean,
so much.
how many times have people's like credit card information been compromised because of Sony?
Well, it's not even that. Like, okay,
Well, that's a big
so
part of it, though.
you only have a grand total of like 69 or 70 countries that can even access the PlayStation Network. On top of that, in the UK, it's first of all, it's against their terms of service to use a VPN or to pick a different region than you're actually located in, right? So you can't even really get around it.
But how would they know? Like, isn't a VPN supposed to hide your location and spoof a different one? How do they know you're spoofing it?
You got me. I mean, so it's against the terms of service. So if you fuck up and they catch it, they can ban your account,
Oh,
basically.
I see. Okay.
So I don't know the technical bullshit that would go into all that going down, but it's a possibility. It's against the terms, Sony's terms of service, right?
Yeah, that seems erroneous, or not erroneous. That seems egregious.
Well, it gets
Well,
better.
when you think
So
about it,
in
like,
the
how can
UK,
they shouldn't be able to determine, like, to have any say over where you decide to uh, secure your IP from. That's none of their fucking business.
no, it's not. But it gets better, right? So they're like, oh, well, all the Sony ponies came out of the woodwork, and they're like, oh, it's not a big deal. It even says in the terms of in the agreement that all they're going to collect, all they're going to have, the only info they're going to have access to is your Steam name. If you're in the UK and you try to sign up for a PSN account,
Yeah,
do you know what hoops you got to jump through?
you
No
have to
idea.
you have to
Facial
click between
facial
buttons and
recognition, facial recognition,
that.
and a photocopy of your ID.
Yeah, that's bullshit. That's what they do in the United States and certain states for porn now, eh?
Right, but I mean that's porn. That's a whole different fucking topic.
Oh, I get it, but I
But
just mean, like, it
but with
seems
the
a
with
little Orwellian. That's
the
all.
whole reason, okay, and I learned this earlier because me and a bunch of guys were talking about all this. But the reason that they're doing that is because allegedly some kid committed suicide because he was getting bullied and harassed by a group of guys on the PS network on through the PlayStation or whatever, and allegedly sent somebody at Sony a letter saying, "Well, guys, I guess I'm going to kill myself because I'm getting bullied on your platform," and they used it as an excuse to implement facial recognition
Yeah.
and real ID checks to sign up in the UK. Now, my thing is
That
I
didn't happen for 200, Alex.
right, because like I looked and I cannot find one article, I can't find one story, I can't find an interview with parents, I can't find anything about this, right? And this
Yeah.
is the type of shit that boomers and all the video games are evil, like all those
Yeah.
motherfuckers would have fucking like that. It would have jumped on it. Even just the shark ass journalists, dude. That's blood in the water, right? Like they would have ate that up like it was fucking candy on Christmas.
Well, I think also you got to consider the UK has long since, just acquiesced on the idea of a nanny state. They're worse than Canada. They're like, yes, state, please protect me. I'll give you everything, every bit of freedom I have as long as you keep me safe from those scary brown people. And then,
Yeah, I mean,
if the state
I
doesn't
agree.
keep you safe from anybody or
The UK
anything.
is super cucked. Like they've
Oh
been
yeah,
cucked
they're
for a
totally.
while. But I mean, just in general, like the world over, that story has everything that a sensationalist journalist would fucking want. It's got a dead kid,
Yeah.
grieving parents, video games being evil, bullying, like that. It sounds like something that a marketing person would have come up with, thinking that it was a believable story.
Yeah.
Right? If it's true, because like I said, I can't verify it. I can't find anything about it. But if it's true, it's sensationalist bullshit. It's corporate coercion at that point,
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
But back to Helldivers. So it goes down. They announce this thing. Everybody freaks out. There's people freaking out. in the official Discord. I've got tons of screenshots of some of the funniest fucking shit. But everybody's freaking out, and then the community managers and the moderators of their Discord, bro, instead of just being like, "Hey, we're waiting for information. We will update you as soon as we know something. We understand you're pissed." Like handling it professionally or at
Yeah.
least with some kind of tact. They immediately start berating Steam players,
Yep.
people that are bitching about it, like just fucking talking shit. Like their community manager comes out and says something about, "Oh, it only takes 2 minutes to make a PlayStation account. If you're that pissed off, if you can't take 2 minutes out of your day to do that, then maybe we don't want you playing our game." Bro, how the people at Arrowhead didn't just fucking shoot that guy when he said that shit is beyond me. Like,
That's what I was saying earlier. It's like they want an alternative economy to pop up.
well,
They're
okay,
like asking for it. You know what I mean? Like,
so this is just we're just now like looking into the rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
So a couple months, like I don't know if you guys probably didn't hear about it because I don't know how well you guys haven't probably been following the game or whatever, but like a month or so back, they had an issue where one of their community managers was on Twitter talking about, yeah, the reason we ban people from our Discord is because of racism and bigots and transphobia, right? And the real reason was the CEO had made it pretty clear, like, yeah, we don't want to bring real world politics into this. That's why we're not having discussions about troon flags and fag flags, and we're not doing on that. Anybody who brings it up for or against is gone. Which, hey, I was all for because I just wanted to spread managed democracy and shoot some fucking robots in the face, right?
it's
Like
like
that's
that Asian guy going, "Hey, this is a library." You know, this
right.
is a gaming fucking forum. Don't fucking bring your horse shit into here.
So, and of course, that community manager, you want to guess what they had on their Twitter profile? It's pink and blue and white.
It's
Oh,
a
the
troon
trans
flag.
the
Oh
pedophile
yeah,
flag,
all
the
over
trans
it.
flag.
Pronouns in the bio and everything. Well, that should have been a sign, but everybody, because the CEO came out and was like, "Yeah, fuck this. We don't want to deal with it." Everybody just wrote it off as, "Oh, it's just this one rogue community manager being a dick. Fuck them. They'll get fired or they won't be around, whatever." Well, after all hell started breaking loose and all the mods and the community managers started shit talking the players and pissing off the player base real good, I started doing some digging and I started looking at who their mods were. And I shit you not, one of their names is Femboy Bunny, right? Then I start looking at the community managers and it's all rainbow flags and tranny flags. And when you start going through their Twitters, you see they've done the same shit that these people always do. Fuck toxic gamers, fuck toxic masculinity, fuck men, blah blah blah, the same shit. Like they just went completely mask off yesterday, and it blew up in their face even harder when they did that because now all of a sudden these people that didn't have this shit in their bios before on Discord, now all of a sudden the flags are coming out, their names are changing. They're very obviously men in dresses and bad wigs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, it's been bad. So the whole which it's one of two things, right? As far as that side of it goes, it's either a bait and switch in the CEO just saying what's going to make the game popular and bring in people so they can get the money. And then the plan was all along to switch all this out, ban all these people, get them out of the fucking community, and then just make the game whatever they wanted at that point because they've already got their money, right? Or it was an infiltration effort where well, I guess there was the third scenario is just fucking plain ignorance on the part of Arrowhead of the studio. But
Yeah.
if it was an infiltration, it was these people that got in good, got in these positions of like, it's you don't even want to call it positions of power because it's so petty. Like, oh, I moderate the Discord. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I manage this video game community. Like, it's what the fuck even is that? Like, what?
Yeah.
But they got into these positions of slight power and were just waited for their chance to go nuts with it. To the point where one of their community managers yesterday was on Twitter and got found out saying that the whole PSN thing was so they can, the sole purpose of it was to ban people, which makes me think they were just waiting for this shit to go live. And then once they have your Steam name, they can ban you from using PSN, and they will never sell you a game again if your Steam name has been linked to a banned PSN account.
Right.
All they would need is your name. So if something came out that was a Sony published game, like, oh, I wanted that looked cool, I'd play that, and you try to purchase it, nope, you're banned. You either need a PSN account or your account's been flagged for toxic masculinity or some bullshit, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing, right? That's the social credit score system in practice, right? It won't be one centralized system. It'll be a bunch of smaller systems that are on board with the agenda, and they'll just say, "Oh, sorry, no, you're not welcome on the PSN. You're not welcome on Steam anymore. You're not welcome on X, on whatever." That's why I'm saying it's going to bring about a parallel economy. There's going to be someone who develops a system, whether it be a console or just a PC platform, where people can put up anything. Like Steam is kind of like that, but I'm sure it's from Valve software, right? So it's prone to all that sort of shit as well. But somebody's gonna say, you know what, you want to play games made by people who don't fucking hate you?
See,
come to this platform.
There's the difference, I think, between like a company like Valve and PlayStation and Microsoft and shit is that, okay, so, or like Sony and Microsoft. So they, as far as video games, all they know is consoles. And
Yeah.
if you've ever met someone who's a console player or like a diehard console gamer or whatever, blind loyalty, like, oh, PlayStation is the best, Xbox is the best, and everything else sucks, blah blah blah, and they will fucking fight to the death for the multi-million-dollar company, right?
Yeah.
PC gamers aren't like that.
Is that so
PC
true anymore,
gamers
though?
are, yes, bro.
Because a
There's
lot of people I know have an Xbox and a PlayStation, and they'll buy both because they like games that are exclusive to Xbox and like games that are exclusive to PS. So, and then I know PC's always like talking about them being the master race, right?
It was getting to that point where everything was more affordable with the last generation, so everybody could potentially have had like a Switch, an Xbox One, and a PS4, right? Like everything was kind of around the same. Everything, the prices were relatively manageable. You could in a year you could save up the money to get all three if you really really wanted to, right?
Yeah.
Not anymore. Not with the PlayStation 5 being, is it still damn near $1,000?
I'm not sure.
Like,
I have a PS4 and an Xbox Series X, but I'm thinking of getting rid of my Series X because I never fucking use it. I bought it for Starfield, and I was so disappointed by Starfield, I just couldn't get into it. Like, fuck it. So
I think
that was your fault for buying a Bethesda game, bro. Like, and that's coming from a Fallout fan. Like,
I loved Skyrim. I still play Skyrim. So I'm like, when a Starfield was advertised, I'm like, oh my god, this is gonna be fucking Skyrim in space. But it was nothing near as good as Skyrim.
Well, they outsourced that one. They outsourced a lot of the graphic design and all that shit to like shitty Korean and Indian companies, so everything just looks hideous.
Yeah.
But so all this trash fire's going on. The mods are fucking freaking out. Everybody's starting to figure out, holy shit, all these community managers and mods are trannies and faggots, and everybody, and they've all made statements about hating gamers and blah 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 blah. Well, everybody's waiting for an update, and while everybody's waiting for the update, the first day, the deserved review bombing began. Everybody started changing their reviews of the game to negative or posting negative reviews. I've never fucking posted a game review on Steam in my life until yesterday because I've got 319 hours in this fucking game and I refuse to make a PlayStation Network account. I absolutely refuse. Will not make one. The reason I play on Steam is so I don't have to deal with that bullshit. The reason I don't buy EA and Ubisoft games is so I don't have to deal with that bullshit. Right? It's just it's too much. I'm not doing it. Well, now they're getting review bombed and their score, there's a graph. If you pull it up on Steam, you can look at this graph for the last 2 days, and it's like from February, it's all blue. It's mostly blue, all really fucking high stellar reviews. and then you get to 2 days ago, and it just the bottom falls right the fuck out, dude. It's insane.
This was an amazing thing. Early this afternoon, just browsing the internets, I saw a screenshot of the reviews. It was some like 370,000 total reviews, but recent reviews, 102,000 roughly, mostly negative. That was this afternoon. This evening, Pox, you sent me a screenshot. Recent reviews, 150 some thousand, mostly negative. So in an afternoon, 50,000 more negative reviews went up.
Bro, when the reviews started, they were sitting at somewhere between like 70 and 90% positive reviews. If you look at the percentages now, it's the recent reviews is at, what was it, 23% positive, and the total reviews is at 50 something, I believe, like 58% mixed reviews.
Yeah.
So they fucked up hard, like real fucking hard. And
I'm
like
wondering
even if you look at the player base, because you can go on Steam's page too, and you can look at the currently active players, right? I've been playing this game every weekend when I'm off. That's what I'm doing, because I got the kids here and shit. I don't go out and do nothing because dad stuff. So once the kids are asleep, I'm playing video games all night. And usually, so the way the game is set up, you have a bunch of different planets, and each planet has a player count, how many players are active on that planet. Usually there's only, between 5 and 8 that you can actually get to, because they have a supply line system, so you have to liberate one planet to get to another couple planets, you know what I'm saying? You would see, like last weekend, I remember playing, and one planet alone had 90,000 players on it. Another one had 30,000. Another one had 10. And then you have a few more that have like 5, 2,000, small little numbers like that. Total active players on Steam this weekend during peak gameplay hours was sub 80,000 players. Yeah, that's how pissed people are. People won't even boot up the game anymore, and I don't blame them.
I don't blame them.
But so we get updates. We get updates from the community managers at Arrowhead, and the first update they put out is, "Hey, we just got the frequently asked questions link from Sony about linking your PSN account." Right, that comes in yesterday. Okay, I think I might have screen capped it and sent it to you guys. If it's probably buried in there, I could dig it out if you want to see it. But the main thing that I saw on this thing, this came directly from Sony, and it's broke down into like 7 bullet point questions. And one of them, it was the third one on the list, says something about, what do I do if I can't use PSN in my region or something like that? And it's got a thing that talks about, if you're traveling or going to school or whatever, just pick the region that you're in. Essentially, it's like, I know we have this terms of service, but go ahead and break our terms of service. Like, that made no sense to me, right? Well, that pissed everybody off because it doesn't give you any answers. It's just corporate bullshit from Sony, right? So the next thing that drops is the community managers start telling people, we absolutely assure you that the people that are in regions that can't access the PlayStation Network, they can have, we're not gonna block them from the game. We won't require them to have an account, right? And that pissed people off because, okay, well, if you don't need to, if the requirement isn't actually a requirement to play the game, why are you going to lock out players in regions that could potentially access it from accessing it if they don't want to have a PSN account, especially when they've already been playing the game for 3 months? No answer on that. They complete radio silence on that one. That's one that's just lost to the ether. We'll never get an answer to that. Well, we assure you, we promise, we're not going to force you guys. We're not going to force you guys to make an account if you can't make an account. We're not going to ask you to break our TOS. A couple hours ago, they delisted the game from 117 countries. They didn't lie. They're not going to ask you to make an account. They just ain't going to let you play the game.
Took your money and ran.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
there's
Twin and I were talking about this. I'm like, that'd be like, okay, so you buy a car, right? You buy a car, everybody's raving about how great this car is, but the electronic system was designed and programmed by Sony, and then all of a sudden you can't. Your car's bricked. You can't fucking turn it on. You find out when you call the manufacturers. Oh yeah, well, in order to use the electronic system, you need to download the PSN.
Yep, pretty much.
So you can't fucking start your car unless you download the PSN. Yeah, it's kind of dumb. I'm reading your review right now, Pox.
Oh yeah, go ahead. Like, I tried not to sound like super scathing, but like and just be honest about why I'm pissed off about this, because you can go ahead and read it out loud if you want. Let
All right.
everybody hear it. Let's go.
All right, so this is from Pox Toxic. Gave a thumbs down, not recommended. Posted May 3rd. 316 hours. Would have been many more, but with the requirement to add a PSN account, I won't be playing anymore. I play on Steam to avoid Sony and Microsoft's, I assume it was shit show
Bullshit.
or garbage. It's
You can just throw in whatever cuss words you think work. That's fine.
Okay. Yet another good thing ruined. The real final nail in the coffin is the attitude that the community managers and Discord mods for the official server have had about the whole situation. There was even an employee on Twitter openly saying the sole purpose was to ban people. The shitty part is that I won't even be able to get my money back because of the hours I've logged in the game, and now I'm shit out of luck. That's Arrowhead. Unless you reverse course, thanks Arrowhead. Unless you reverse course on this, I won't be purchasing any games from you in the future, and I will be sure to recommend everyone I know to not waste their time or money on a bait and switch asshole developer. Yep. No, that's
It's kind of short and to the point. I mean, that's
makes
what
sense.
it is.
Makes sense. And then you put a nice gif of Doggo saying, "I'm doing my part."
Yes.
I also
very
like
much
this
so.
one that was shared. I don't know, this is this on the Discord or is this on Facebook? Helldivers 2 Democracy posting.
Oh, that was from a Facebook group.
So Jay Binkley, someone called Jay Binkley, posted one of those, Facebook, full screen like word text boxes. People chose to ruin a game and company and still stay in the group. Leave. And then the comments are, imagine being this stupid and thinking, I'm not stupid. Okay, get back here, you fucking pine cone, so we can bully you.
Yeah, I
I
love
love
that.
that info. You fucking pine cone.
Bro, and even the comments in that one were great. The other comments were great too, because everybody was like, "Oh, I didn't know Sony was in the Helldivers group. This is news to us. Let's go. Get the fuck out of here, Sony!" Like,
Yeah, part of me thinks because everybody was raving about Helldivers, right? And
bro,
and
it's
then all of a
such a
sudden,
fun
now
game.
it's turned into this debacle. And part of me thinks that there's some sinister cabal at the top of it all saying they're enjoying this too much.
Well,
Take it away from them.
here's what I think it is,
I
right?
think they're
'Cause,
going to
like,
do the
if
same with
you've
Stellar Blade too. People have been talking about Stellar Blade's a great game. I love Stellar Blade, and then of course the feminazis are trying to say it's objectifying women and it's blah 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 and all this shit. Right?
they've already fucked up Stellar Blade, and I don't even think the game's released yet. I think they just released the demo and or something like that. Because I'm not. I mean,
What
let's
they
be
do
honest.
to it.
Let's be honest. Stellar Blade is a Coomer game. That's its biggest selling point is that you got ass and titties, right? Like
Yeah.
we can't deny that fact. Which, hey, whatever. Not my cup of tea, but
It's
to each
it's
their own.
Dead or Alive 2, or Dead or Alive 2 with a story.
Hey, don't knock Dead or Alive. That's a
I
great
love
fighting
Dead or
game.
Alive, but let's face it, you play Dead or Alive to look at boobs and butts.
The jiggle physics were phenomenal for the time.
Damn
Groundbreaking.
right they are. That's why I played it.
Dead or oh yeah, the fighting game. I was thinking of
yeah.
Left 4 Dead for some reason. Yeah. Then that's another one. Like, whatever. At least I mean, Dead or Alive, as far as being a fighting game, was fun as fuck too. Like
It was fun.
it was a pretty solid fighting game for being a Coomer game, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure Stellar Blade is probably the same way. But I'm just kind of to the point where like I've got kids in the house. I can't be playing jiggle physics games all the time. You know what I mean? That's the last thing these kids want to see their dad doing, sitting there fucking watching cartoon ass and titties flopping around everywhere.
Well, if you were playing one-handed with your other hand down your pants, I think that would be the most egregious part of it. But
Yeah, I think that would probably end in a CPS call, I'd imagine.
probably.
But
I remember
no,
Dead
like
or Alive
so
being
Stellar
volleyball
Blade.
too. I remember.
Like I said, honestly, it's a Coomer game. Fine,
Yeah.
whatever. To each their own. The company's gonna make a fucking shit ton of money off of it. More power to them. I got no problem with that. The gameplay solid on top of it. It's just a bonus for the Coomers, right? But what they did was they released the demo. It's out for a few hours, and then Sony, again, publishing the game. So all of a sudden a day one patch gets released and it censored out a lot of the cleavage and shit. Like it added like the shitty, like, I don't know what the fuck you call them, like the sports bra wraparound things that
Yeah.
chicks can wear under dresses and shit. Like it starts adding to those to a lot of the fucking more like revealing costumes and shit. And that started a firestorm and everybody's pissed about that because everybody knows like this shit. Like, I mean, come on, Sony of Japan don't give a fuck. So Japan in it by its own nature is just like a fucking sexually degenerate culture. They do not give a fuck.
Oh
They
yeah,
like
yeah.
they like tits, they like ass, they like sex.
Yeah, it's a
More
pervert
power to
culture,
them,
for
right?
sure.
Exactly. This is all coming from Sony of California, Sony of America, based in California, where all the troons and all the fucking retards are, and they're the ones that fucking make these decisions for this shit. Now it seems like.
Remember, communism, socialism, it's what happens when there are enough stupid, weak, and ugly people that they can team up and make it illegal to be smart, strong, and beautiful. Then they start robbing and murdering everyone more successful than them, punishing them for being good. So the rest of the ideology is just window dressing, right? What's that?
Yeah.
Hot girls in video games? Make them ugly. Fuck you. Fuck
Put a
beauty.
chick in it. Make it lame and gay.
Yeah.
Make it lame and gay. Yeah, I agree with you there. So you know what?
And there was some other stuff too that Sony's done lately that's pissed people off. I don't really follow it too much, but there was like 5 or 6 games. The Star Wars game, I think, didn't they have a hand in that? Because they were published, they were involved in the publishing of that, and they made like they probably them or there was probably a consulting company involved somewhere that told them to make the character hideous and fucking manly, even though it's a chick. Like, people are just getting tired of it. And I really think the Helldivers controversy, the reason it exploded the way it did is one, just the overall feel of the game is like brainwashed patriotism, right? Like that's like the main theme of the game. It's like it's kind of a jab at jingoism and totalitarianism run amok and all that shit.
It's a spoof on Starship Troopers and the whole fascism kind of like
right. But when you have that, but like
of Starship Troopers, that's all.
Yeah, and it's got a little bit of the Terminator movies in there too, with some of the bot stuff and all that. But when it came out, because of the nature of the game itself and like the lore and the setting and the overall feel of that whole totalitarian ultra patriotism thing, and then the CEO coming out and saying, yeah, we're not going to put woke bullshit in it because we just want to make fun co-op games with friendly fire. That was how they put it. That's all we want to do. This is the CEO of Arrowhead. So they drew in the people that are like, we just want to fucking shoot robots and bugs, bro. We don't want to deal like the people that were actually looking for escapism, right?
Yeah.
That's the community they fomented, right? Themselves. That's their stated goal was to just bring people together and have them play together and not have it all be a competition, right? Like that was their big thing. Just have fun together. And I don't know. I think because of the type of people that you would draw in by marketing your product like that, and then you try to start flipping the script on motherfuckers and start talking about, well, we're gonna ban toxic gamers, and
that's the thing. I think that was I don't think that was Arrowhead. That was probably, like you said, an infiltration of people who like, look, this is everything we hate as progressive leftists. This is everything we hate, and they're having way too much fun with it. We need to take it down. We need to destroy it. So
but that's the thing. You can't tell. You can't really tell because Arrowhead is a Swedish company, first of all. Like, that's, I mean, fucking an entire nation of femboys and Muslims, right? Like, so
they're slowly turning things around because they're like, their government was basically run by women for a couple of decades, and now they're realizing, hey, yeah, we've been completely overrun by Eritreans who, are throwing grenades at each other.
Yeah,
Maybe we should reverse course a little bit. Maybe not develop, adopt Viktor Orban kind of things, but maybe we should reverse course a little bit.
Wasn't it Sweden just this week where it came out that a lot of female police officers were giving up information to Muslim gang leaders that they were fucking?
Really?
Yeah, look it up. That I swear to God, it was Sweden. It had to be Sweden.
Probably. It sounds about right. I mean,
but
they've been ruined, but
see, you draw this crowd, and keep in mind, these are people like, I mean, like myself. Like, the last game I bought, or the first game I bought in almost 5 or 6 years that I really enjoyed was Armored Core 6, and that was the middle of last year when that came out, or like over the winter. And then I was excited because Helldivers came out. There's a new Dragon Ball Z game coming out, which you can't really fuck those up.
yeah.
There's Bandai Namco has been killing it with the games they've been putting out, but that's just because a lot of them are based off of Akira Toriyama franchises, and that guy, rest in peace, but everything he did was golden as far as I'm concerned. So you have these people, and people have been dying for just games that they can just sit down, play, and forget that the world is overrun with trannies and crazy people, and you know what I mean? Like, and then you take it away from them. You're like, here, there's a golden age coming, boys. Have fun. Oh, just fucking with you. And then you take it away from them. What the fuck do you think is going to happen, bro?
Yeah.
That's like teasing a starving dog with a steak.
I tell you what's going to happen. It's going to spark, like I said, the parallel economy. There's going to be a parallel economy. Somebody's going to say, we're making a system, we're making a game system, we're going to invite studios who just want to make escapist games that aren't full of shit and don't hate their players.
And that's the thing. I think that's part of what everybody was expecting to come out of Arrowhead and this game to a degree, because the last, because it was Helldivers, and then there was a couple of other Pal World, Helldivers. There was a bunch of other indie games that just completely blew AAA corporations out of the water as far as sales and reception and overall mass appeal and, retaining player bases and shit. Blew them right the fuck out of the water. And that's kind of the path everybody thought they were taking. And I really, me personally, that was one of the selling points for Helldivers for me when I was looking into the game. As a small developer, they're indie, they were saying the right shit, everything seemed on the up and up, and then you have this happen. And I'm just wondering how many more times this is going to happen, right? Like, there's going to be another game that comes out, maybe not a live service game, but it'll be something that's, online or multiplayer or something that people can actually enjoy. And then you're just going to keep getting the rug yanked out from under you every time you buy a game. Because when you think about it, what's stopping these AAA companies that can get money from publishers for games and shit like that, people with more money than they've already made, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's stopping them from being like, okay, we're going to start up this small development studio, we're going to call it Apex Games, right? And it's essentially a sister company, but if we have this guy as the CEO, and he's not officially connected to our company, right? He starts Apex Game Studios, and he starts making this game, and then we manufacture a fuck up, or we do something really fucked up to make to just cause a big shitstorm, and then we try to make it seem like, well, this is why you can't trust indie developers, because look what they did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, what's to stop them from doing that? And that might be paranoia on my part, but one thing I do know for sure is that people with money and any kind of power, even if it is in something as petty and retarded as video games, will do really, really fucked up shit to retain that money and petty power.
Well, no, you're not wrong. I mean, Microsoft is famous for during the days of when they were working on Excel, right?
Mm-hmm.
They were they were trying to basically replace Lotus Notes. Lotus was like the spreadsheet software that everybody was using back then, and they were making it so that Lotus couldn't run in Microsoft because they wanted to kill Lotus. So they're developing all these back end bugs that would cause Lotus to crash if anybody tried to put it on Windows. And so that's how they killed Lotus Notes. So they even had like a sign, we don't stop working until Lotus stops working. They had it in their like their development studio, right? Their programmers like little bullpen. So yeah, businesses do that all the time. I think, you know what, like a false flag kind of thing, like, oh, you can't trust indie developers. You know what it's going to take? There's going to need to be an Angel Studios kind of thing going on where you got a somebody says, I'm going to develop a console, I'm going to launch it on all 5 continents or whatever, and it's going to be specifically for game developers who we're basically going to keep AAA game makers off of this console. This is like a Steam Deck, so to speak, right? But with the political ideology in mind of saying we don't want anybody on here but people who fucking love games and love gamers, and you know, and it wouldn't hold gamers to an account for behavior, but it would hold developers to a higher account, saying if you engage in some sort of shitty practices, you're off this platform, and no more games can come on this platform, kind of thing. Now,
that would be dope, but the insane part is that's the way it always should have been. Like, these motherfuckers act like the player bases work for them instead of the other way around.
Yeah,
it's like, and it blows my mind that we've given these people that much influence over our entertainment, right? And video games were really like that last little bastion of that last little safe haven of escapism and entertainment, that you could actually find some shit that's not complete trash to kind of just relax and blow off steam with. You can't watch movies anymore without having messages shoved down your throat.
Yeah.
You can't watch shows anymore on any streaming service or television without having messages shoved down your throat.
Or commercials.
Or commercials, yeah. You can't, like, good luck finding a book that was published in the last 20 years that doesn't have some bullshit fucking narrative to it that it basically amounts to white people bad and orcs are blacks and all that shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Six's book doesn't
have any of that bullshit.
No woke garbage in Six's book.
Well, Six doesn't count because he's counterculture at this point. So it's like, for real, like, when his book comes out, that's a counterculture project at this point.
No, like, a principled Christian man is the counterculture, isn't that?
That's the way of the world right now, brother. Like, I remember, I mean, and I hate bringing him up because he kind of turned out to be a scam and fucktard too. But back a few years ago, Milo Yiannopoulos used to say that conservatism is the new punk rock and shit like that. But
he wasn't wrong, you know.
He's not wrong. Like, yeah, he's not wrong at all. Like, when the whole world is lefty and liberal and chopping off their dicks and sewing, like, cutting their tits off and making fake dicks out of thigh skin and shit, the counterculture are the people that are like, no, you know, I'm gonna go to church and I'm gonna read my Bible and I'm gonna raise a family and try to get a plot of land and be self-sufficient, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, that led me to believe, you know, you were talking about earlier, Twin, about how communism is just like ugly, lazy, incompetent people being angry about people who are competent, good-looking, and powerful people, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or you know, active people. And, you know, not to get too philosophical or religious, but it's almost like, you know, you've got good and evil right there in a nutshell. You've got angels and demons.
You're so close, Craig.
No, you've got people who follow you know, principles that are good for them and good for society as a whole. And then you've got the hedonistic, devil worshipping communists, godless communists, as you say, who are really all about self-indulgence and the 7 deadly sins and just embracing the most based, not based in the good way, but debased mindset towards everything. Yeah.
And further, the crabs in the bucket mentality, where what's that? You're daring to better yourself? That's an affront to me. That's like an attack on me.
Right.
Right? I'm fat and gross and refusing to do anything to better myself. So how dare you go to the gym?
Yeah.
Right? That's basically genociding me.
Yeah. Nurgle does not approve.
Not at all. But yeah, so back on track, man, because there was so much shit. Like, so the community managers are like, after yesterday, they went into hiding. The vast majority of the day. Well, first there was another script that got flipped, right? So the community manager that was talking shit to all the Helldivers players and shit, that was like, oh, you can't take 2 minutes to make an account, then just don't play the game. I'm assuming that word came down higher up, like, what the fuck did you do? What are you doing?
Why are you
Shut the
telling
fuck up.
not to
Because,
download or play our game? Yeah.
yeah, because he was radio silent. Well, he, she, it, I don't even know. Probably an it, more than likely. Let's be honest. Was radio silent for damn near 24 hours. And then the first thing they said when they come back is, hey, I was wrong. I didn't realize there were this many countries that didn't have access to the PlayStation Network. I'm sorry. I've changed hey guys, I'm sorry. I'm one of you guys now. I'm with you. And then
Due
a few
to
hours
public
after
pressure,
that,
I am flip-flopping.
yeah. And then a few hours after that, like, so the review bombing had been going on at this point. I mean, like, shit's tanking. We watched this thing drop like 20 points in real time over the course of a few hours. Like, me and a buddy of mine, we were just sitting there just laughing, just cracking up about it. Like, this is amazing. And then that's going on, and then they come back out and they say, hey guys, it's not Arrowhead's fault, right? So what you should do is just, ask for refunds and keep doing the negative reviews, make your voices heard, be honest, blah blah blah, because that helps Arrowhead in their negotiations with Sony. But don't be mad at Arrowhead. It's not Arrowhead's fault. This is all Sony. I call bullshit on that, right?
Well, also Arrowhead got into the arrangements with Sony, so
Ding ding
it is their
ding.
fault too.
They went along with it.
Yeah.
Somebody, like, Sony can make these decisions, but ultimately Arrow's the one that has to push the button. That's how Sony dodges fucking accountability. And Arrowhead's now trying to do the same thing. And somebody I was talking to the earlier brought up the fact, okay, so they delisted the game for future sales through Steam in all those countries, right? People have already bought the game in those countries. Technically, they can still boot the game up. They can still jump on and play until the 30th, when the PSN requirement comes into place. So even if PlayStation's like, well, these countries will let them keep playing, blah, 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 no big deal. Okay, that's all well and good. What about the company that runs the servers? What happens when the company that runs the servers decides, well, we can't let these people have access to the game, and then they're server locked out of the game?
Yeah.
And then Sony and Arrowhead can just point to the operators of the servers and be like, look, guys, it's not our fault. It's them.
Yeah.
So this whole thing is just, it's that fucking Spider-Man meme where there's 10 of them fucking standing in a circle pointing at each other.
Yep.
And that's
right back.
Yeah, you're good. That's what this is going to turn into. The writing's already on the wall for that, with all the cope and shit that I've been seeing, and all the don't blame these guys bullshit that's been going on.
I mean, now it is possible that Arrowhead, being a smallish developer, really needed the backing of someone bigger to get it done.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe they were, what's the word? Like a little naive, a little over optimistic about how much Sony would actually fuck with them. Like Sony may have said, yeah, this is boilerplate contract stuff, and we're not going to actually interfere, even though like we need to be able to protect ourselves, yada yada yada. Get them actually trapped into that contract and then abuse the power that's in it.
Well,
It's
I don't.
possible.
It's
but,
possible,
you know,
but there's also a situation where Sony, in the middle, like like not too many hours after all this had started yesterday, decided to change their own terms of service. So if you look on the PSN network site and you go to their terms and shit and how it all works and the frequently asked questions bullshit, whatever, there's a spot where it says some PlayStation published games or something like that played on the PC and may require a PlayStation Network account to function. The day before, it read PlayStation games played on the PC do not require a PSN network. They literally switched it because of this situation. They reworded it so that Arrowhead can kind of mitigate some of the damage they're taking, or Sony can mitigate some of the damage they're taking from all this by saying so. They like, I really think the plan was to go back and be like, look, it was right there the whole time, but the internet's fucking forever, guys. Come on, let's be real. And usually, like, I'm not 100% sure because I mean, let's face it, I'm retarded. But I'm pretty sure when companies make changes like that, aren't they?
I'm just a nigga with a rocket launcher.
There you go. Aren't they legally required to put out word to all of their user base about these changes, or to make a public statement when they make these changes to terms of service like that?
No.
Think
it's explicitly stated in the terms of service that these terms of service are basically our whims and we can change them whenever we want, and you're subject to them. We're not subject to them. You are.
Yeah.
That's fucked.
Yeah, the terms of service has changed. Please, please agree with the terms of service before, continuing using our product. Yeah.
Yeah, but don't you, when they make a change, don't you have to, because like every time, okay, so like I use Discord pretty regularly, right? And every time they have a big change in their terms of service, they give you an update and they let you know what the changes are being made, and then you have to re-accept the terms of service.
Yeah.
Right? Sony never did that with this change. It was one thing one day and then one thing the next day.
That's probably why they're waiting till the 30th to make it official and lock it down, right? Gauge how people react to the change, and then
Arrowhead's thing was they were having server issues, so they gave it a grace period. That's what they keep saying. And you weren't required for the first 3 months, but that grace period's coming to an end. Which says to me that Sony was like, okay, you guys have a player base, go ahead. Come on, you got your server issues fixed. Let's go, because we need to inflate our numbers. We fucked up so bad that our user base is dropping, and we need to make sure our shareholders think that we're still cooking. So let's get these numbers up, guys. Come on.
Yep. It's really that simple.
I really think
because they realize at the end of the day, there's a bunch of normies out there who aren't pissed about it, and they're just going to go, oh, I got to get a PSN account. Either they're going to go, oh yeah, I got that, I'll link it, or oh, I guess I'll make a PSN account. They just don't fucking care. But then those type of people are probably the jokes are probably lost on them too, like the tongue-in-cheek nature of Helldivers is lost on them, and they're just in it to shoot bugs and robots.
Yeah, actually, you'd be surprised. Like, I was kind of amazed at how much of a shitstorm it kicked up in the official Discord, because, like, let's face it, if you go into an official Discord for anything, it's usually lousy with furries and degenerates and trannies and everybody who wants to talk about everything other than what the fucking server is for. First gaming community that I like, community server that I've jumped into, and it was all the only people there were talking about the game, or they were LARPing as super citizens of Super Earth, right? Like, and it was amazing. And I think that was where like the people people got it. They really got the tongue-in-cheek nature of this. So when all hell broke loose, there's still people LARPing, talking about if if my brothers can't dive, we won't dive. This is the SES, Pride of Liberty signing off. You know what I mean? Shit
Yeah.
like that. Like, dude, it's been amazing. There's a guy who's got a list of ships, because in the game you get your own little destroyer or whatever that you launch from, and you get to name it and everything. And he's got a list. I mean, and it's a big fucking list of players that had contacted him and had said, hey, throw my ship name on that list because I'm not going to play the game unless they reverse course. Mine's on there.
Yeah.
SES Prophet of Supremacy will not launch a single Helldiver unless this fucking bullshit is reversed.
You're doing your part.
That's right. I'm doing my part. Are you doing your part?
Well, I haven't played Helldivers, so I'm boycotting by default.
I'm checking out some of the comments on Steam, and some of them are just like, here's a list of all the countries in which the game has been delisted. And it's like this huge post, 117 countries.
It's
Somebody else posts, here's the list of PlayStation Network hacks. Right? And it's like, yeah, like clockwork. Every couple of years, boom, 70 plus million users' information and credit card information gets fucking stolen.
So I heard a theory about that too. A buddy of mine seems to think that those hacks, you can't see the air quotes because I'm just an angry black man face, but those hacks were actually Sony selling, potentially just selling data and then coming up with a fucking excuse to not be fucking sued for it.
Yeah, it makes perfect
You're probably
sense.
right. You're probably right. Probably sold it to China.
Probably. I could see Sony of California doing that. I don't see Sony of Japan doing it because the Japanese absolutely fucking loathe China, and the feeling is mutual. You know what I mean? Like,
but that being said, everybody in Asia loathes Japan too. So
yeah, that's true.
They're just jealous, though.
I know. Japan is best Asians. So if they could just not be, if they could just tone down the perversion just a little bit, they'd be all right.
Yeah. I think they got legit reasons for why they might hate Japan, though. Japan was pretty fucking brutal.
Oh yeah, they were fucking during the feudal era. They were just massacring all kinds of motherfuckers left and right.
Oh yeah, they killed Chinese, Koreans, Taiwanese, everybody.
So yeah, it's hard to, it's really hard telling with that. Like, if those hacks are how many of those hacks were legitimate? Because I know a few of them are. Because I remember years ago when like LulzSec and Lizard Squad and fucking Anonymous were like actually things that were, doing stuff. They were hacking the PlayStation Network. They were hacking Xbox. Do you remember the one Christmas where they took down Xbox Live for an entire day on Christmas Day and pissed everybody off? That was fucking hilarious.
Like, I know that when they hacked PSN, they did it as a response to PSN becoming, so-called losing data. Right? They're like, you fuckers, like, we're gonna fuck you because of your bad corporate behavior. It's the same thing they did with Scientology. Like, Anonymous tends to hack people who deserve it. You know what I mean? To a degree. I mean, they're also full of, weirdos as well, but they tend to go after people. They tend to go after people.
Definitely a different flavor than normal weirdo,
or think they're above consequences.
And I kind of feel like so there was a rumor going around. You guys didn't hear it from me, but there's a rumor going around that Sony may potentially be getting hacked again in response to all this Helldivers bullshit, just to prove a point.
I'm sure they will.
Which will be funny hearing about before the end of the month. You'll probably hear about a massive data breach from Sony. What I'd like for somebody to do, and I'm not advocating for this, but if it happens, hey, I'm not gonna shed tears about it. But it's gonna be really amazing when somebody manages to hack into some emails and get the correspondence between Arrowhead CEOs and Sony officials and see what those conversations and negotiations were actually like. I'd really like to know how hard Arrowhead fought against this, because that's their claim now, that we're in negotiations, we're trying to make it right, blah 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 blah. But I don't know how, like, it's hard to tell at this point, right? Because like they said one thing, their community management team says another. They do one thing, then Sony does another. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah, it's almost like they're trying to sow confusion, so people so nobody knows exactly what's going on, and 3 weeks from now there'll be some sort of disseminated, distilled version of events that make Sony come out looking like, oh, it was not a big deal, and Arrowhead look like, yeah, we just we misjudged. That's it.
It could be. I don't know. I'm kind of convinced that this whole thing was a plot from the beginning to just make a fistful of cash and then step out the door. Like
Nano Reaper's got a lot of hot takes here, right?
What's that?
Nano Reaper in the chat is putting out a lot of hot takes. PlayStation killed Helldivers. Fuck PSN. Also,
Yes.
Anonymous is a bunch of libtards.
Yes,
okay,
they are now.
And also, old time Warhammer is greater than Age of Sigmar, like Warhammer Fantasy.
Yeah, Warhammer Fantasy was pretty good.
So I guess they're not that hot. They're pretty based takes.
Age of Sigmar is all right. Like it's got its cool factors, but come on.
Age of Sigmar
just Warhammer Fantasy. Yeah.
So with Warhammer Fantasy, it felt more like its own game, completely separate from Warhammer 40K as far as like the rule sets and the units and shit. Age of Sigmar just feels like reskinned 40K is the best way I could put it.
Yeah, Warhammer Fantasy was like classic tabletop, army regiments battling, right? And they moved in formation. Warhammer 40K was designed so that young kids would get into Warhammer. And that's where Games Workshop got its success, because the Warhammer Fantasy, there were a lot of guys who were playing it, but it's when little kids got into it, that's because of Warhammer 40K.
Yeah, and then with Warhammer Fantasy too, if I'm remembering right, it started out as just like a tabletop pen and paper RPG. And then it moved into the minis thing. And then when it moved into the minis thing, it kind of took off because they had really good design. It was unique. You know what I mean? There wasn't a lot of stuff out on the market at the time that was quite like it. And then, but it kind of, with each iteration, it was just kind of getting stagnant there for a while. And then when they dropped,
came out with new armies all the time. There was
Yeah, and then when they dropped 40K and did the sci-fi thing, and it was like, when it came out, it was, I mean, completely unique. It was a perfect blend of like sci-fi and medieval fantasy feel to it, right? Like you don't get that from a lot of places, like the religious overtones, the grim dark setting, like that was all really unique to Warhammer for the time.
Yeah,
now
they got really deep into the lore, and a lot of people really appreciated the lore.
Oh yeah.
As far as the game goes, like the actual the actual rolling the dice game, I don't like it. Quite frankly,
for real,
I think it's too. There's too much fucking chaff in it. It's not straightforward enough. But then I'm a rules light kind of guy. Like when I play RPG games, I like D&D. Don't get me wrong. I like other role-playing systems.
So as far as like a tabletop game, you'd probably like something like Zombicide then. Something that's got a board, it's got set rules, dice rolls, and a bunch of moves.
It's not, to me, it's not like a tabletop battle game. That's a board game.
Yeah.
When I'm thinking of a tabletop battle game, I want something sort of like one-page rules, which is supposed to it's like a streamlined Warhammer game. But it's figure agnostic, right? You basically decide how much points you're going to put into things based on what kind of models you're fielding, and it's much more streamlined than Warhammer 40K.
I can get behind that. The problem with that is that the people like the consumer base of games like that, they really love their crunch. You know what I mean? They want something that they got to gnaw on for a few hours before they can sit down and play a game. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. But the thing I don't like about the Games Workshop approach to it, though, is basically they'll retire entire armies. So people will spend, $400 or $500 on building an army, painting it.
$400 or $500. Who the fuck is gonna buy an army for $4,000 or $5,000, bro? Like, what are you talking about?
No, in any event, people spend a lot of money on these things, and then Games Workshop says, this faction is no longer a thing. And the faction was because it was unique. It wasn't just Space Marines. Yeah, we're not gonna release the new a new codex for them, so they're essentially not up to date with all the new rules set.
Or they'll do this thing where it's like, oh well, there's all the rules are the same, but they have a new paint job, so you have to buy new minis and repaint them.
Yeah.
And shit, they do shit like that, which is beyond ridiculous. But Warhammer might not be around come the next 5-10 years. I think
I could see it going the
I think
wayside. It's too expensive a hobby.
Female Custodes is gonna break them, because like the fan base fought against that so hard, because and not even for like the reasons that people would have you believe, like, oh, you just hate women, you just don't want to see strong independent women in your fantasy game. It's like, no, nigga, it's lore, established lore that's been around for 30 years. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah. And they tried to retcon it. No, there's always been female Custodes. They've always been there. No, there haven't. It's clearly established that there haven't been.
Yeah,
it doesn't make any fucking sense that there would be.
Bro, they literally have pages and pages of lore that talk about the reason why only men could become Custodes, because of the genetic manipulation and all this other crazy shit that they had to go through, that the female body just couldn't withstand all this shit that they had to do.
And it would be at a disadvantage because men start stronger than women. So even if you were to augment a female, why would you augment a lesser specimen?
Right?
It's just sexist, but
it's just insane. I don't know, man. In one way, it's a double-edged sword, right? All this shit is, because all these established franchises that have been around as long as we've been alive, some of them longer than that are just like deciding to commit seppuku, right? They're killing themselves off. They'll be gone, but then that's going to leave a fucking vacuum. Somebody will fucking swoop in and take that spot. You know what I mean?
No, what they're trying to do is like they did with the what did they call it, in China, the great I can't remember what it was called, but basically everything old, everything established, everything that people valued was bad and needed to be destroyed. That's what they're doing now with pop culture.
Oh yeah, that was the fucking children's revolution, or the populist revolution back in the day.
It was called the Great.
Is it a great leap forward? And the
great leap forward. That's it.
The destruction of the four olds.
That's right, and that's exactly what's going on right now.
Yeah, that was. Wasn't that a lot of like some of the inspiration? That had to be some of the inspiration for 1984, because that all would have happened during Orwell's lifetime, right? Like he would have watched that, and it was literally kind of how he wrote it in the book, where the kids were spying on the parents and were against the parents. They were ratting them out to the government and getting them killed.
Yep.
And all kinds of shit like that.
Yep. And then Mao came to power and killed them all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can't.
Anybody who's willing to revolt, you have to get rid of them.
Oh yeah, if they're willing to revolt against their parents, they'll revolt against you in a heartbeat. They can't.
Right. That's the funny thing that all these socialist activists, like the people, the useful idiots of George Soros and the globalists who are funding Black Lives Matter, who are funding all of these Palestine protesters. What they don't realize is that should their new world order come to pass, they'll be the first ones killed.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't think they'll be killed outright. I mean, somebody's going to have to break rocks, right? Somebody's going to have to do the mining and shit.
They're the ones going into gulags.
That's one of the memes I fucking absolutely, one of the communism memes I love, where it's like some soy jack crying, "No, I thought I'd be a poet for the revolution. Dig the fucking hole."
Yep.
Fucking commie soldier with the gun pointed at their head.
Yep. Are you having people over for Easter at Irving Twin now? I wait for the confusion in the chat. Yeah, it's Greek Easter this weekend, and
he has risen again.
It's Orthodox Easter.
Well, yep. Greek Orthodox.
Actually, my buddy Lace, she's been in the chat the last couple times I was on. She would have been here today, but she's at a Ortho service. She's Russian Orthodox, and apparently their Easter service runs from midnight till 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Wow. We're not going that crazy. We're going to Melina's parents for Easter dinner, They're gonna serve a lamb. So
Hell yeah.
Yo, I'm looking at some of these reviews. A civilian gets a PSN account. A citizen uninstalls and requests a refund.
That's right.
That's
My thing is right now, I'm just not going to boot up the game this weekend. I'm going to give it till Monday because Monday is usually their announcement day. I'm going to see what happens Monday. If they don't reverse course by then, I'm going to have to try to figure out how I can get get my money back. I want my fucking money back. If I'm out $60, I hope these motherfuckers lose 60 million.
Yep, I hear you. I still can't understand how games they charge that much for games. But then I'm not a hardcore gamer. Like I don't play 315 hours of a fucking game.
Well, that's 315 hours over the course of a few months, and
Right.
then that's
But I
me
would-
going
I
hard.
would
Like
do-
up until this game came out, like I wasn't really logging too many hours in anything. Like I don't even think I have that many hours in Armored Core 6, and I played the fuck out of that when it came out.
Yeah, I've had Skyrim on my PlayStation for like years, and I don't think I've logged 315 hours.
Damn, really?
And I constantly go back to it. It's because I'm a casual gamer. I'm a fucking casual, as they say.
I pretty much am too, really. Like I don't, and I have this really for the longest time. I would play like the worst fucking games ever. Like there was one game that came out years and years ago for like Xbox 360 called Dark Star 1. Bro, it had the worst reviews. There was a bug in it that would completely brick you out of progressing through the story at one point. If you went through a certain path, and the whole game was it was kind of like No Man's Sky before No Man's Sky, but it was all just spaceships. So you would fly between star systems, and each planet had a big area of space that you could fly around in. There was smuggling, there was active economies between the solar systems.
Which game is this?
Dark Star 1.
Okay.
Really fun game, but it was like you look up the reviews for it and it's like, oh bro, they're so bad, but it was so much fun because it was the only game like that at the time, like the really good space sim. But like I like that. What was the other one? There was another one that had like super horrible reviews that I loved back in the day. Bushido Blade. The old Bushido Blade games. I used to love those.
Oh my god.
I used to love those, and everybody hated them because it was such a like it was such a really good take on Japanese style melee combat, I guess, or weapon
Like-
combat.
Bushido Blade was too good a game. That was the problem. It was too good, and you had to be skilled to play it. There was no like I remember putting in Bushido Blade. This was on the original PlayStation before it was called PlayStation 1, right? And people were like, okay, well, how do I jump? You don't fucking jump.
You don't fucking
Are
jump.
you
You block, you dodge, and you swing, nigga. It's rock, paper, scissors. You better get good or die.
I told you about my my tabletop RPG game idea I had, right, Twin, called Elf Camino. You call Rift.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to think what kind of system I want to run it in. Originally, I was going to do like an easy D6 system. And I thought, no, that's too basic. And so I'm thinking I'm going to do it in the Savage Worlds system. You ever played Savage Worlds?
No.
That was that the D&D that was kind of inspired by Conan? Like it was a lot of like barbarians and dinosaurs and shit.
Originally, yeah, I think it was. It was the first system. It was the system that Deadlands was based on. So Deadlands came out first from Pinnacle Entertainment Group, and then they released Savage Worlds, which basically took the system in Deadlands and turned it into a generic role-playing system that you could plug in.
Deadlands was zombie apocalypse.
It was basically Deadlands was basically Wild West zombies. Yeah.
Okay.
Wild West with magic and fucking ghosts and spirits and undead and all that sort of stuff.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. So Deadlands, that was Pinnacle Entertainment Group's first game, and then they put out Savage Worlds, which is basically the same system, but genre-less, so you could plug in any genre. So Elf Camino, if you recall, is basically like Rifts, there was a merging of two realities, one which was like a high fantasy Dungeons and Dragons kind of thing, populated by dwarves and elves and orcs and goblins and shit, and modern day Earth, and the two realities got smeared together. So the North American continent is still roughly the same topography and shape, but some cities are gone and have been replaced by ancient ruins and magical sites and shit like that. And there's dragons flying around, and because the landscape is completely changed, and air travel is so dangerous because the dragons just keep knocking planes out of the sky. Everybody gets by on roads, so you have to drive everywhere. And so the role of the heroes is you drive in your car, and you pick up shit in Milwaukee and you take it over to Philadelphia or whatever, or you drive to Chesapeake to escort some young magic savant to Magic College in Yale or something like that. So yeah, that's the whole idea. It's road trips with modern weapons, magic, and monsters.
Oh yeah, that actually sounds pretty dope. I got tapped to help somebody with a project, so Porpoise got a 3D printer, and he was I don't know if you probably never talked to Porpoise. I don't think Craig Irving knows him, but he was my old co-host for the Toxicast back in the day. But he got a 3D printer, and he's decided that he wants to print a minis game, right? Cool. And he knows that I'm all about game design, not so much game theory. A lot of that kind of goes over my head a little bit, but I know what fun is, and I understand rule systems pretty well. Come up with a few of my own more than once. So he taps me and he's like, I want to make a minis game. And I'm like, okay. So he starts trying to give me all these details, and I'm trying to piece together what this motherfucker wants. And he's just like, every answer is just a meme or a shit post. And I'm like, okay, so do you want a tabletop war game? Do you want a board game with minifigures? Are you looking for a pen and paper RPG game with minifigures? Like, what are we doing here? Because there's a big difference between those three. And he's like, I had to explain the differences and all this shit.
Yeah.
But what he wants to do, essentially, what I've pieced together is the setting is going to be post-apocalyptic. There's a war between heaven and hell, and humanity's kind of caught in the middle of it. But it's that setting, but he essentially wants to transfer a video game system like Ark to a tabletop setting.
I've never played Ark.
So in Ark, you have to gather resources to build up bases and houses and craft items and all that shit. It's like a survival game. So he wants a survival game with this post-apocalyptic heaven versus hell, humanity in the middle scenario. And I'm just sitting here like, bro, I don't think you quite understand. And he's like, so a basic game at like level 1 should take like, maybe 30, 40 minutes, and then a higher, and then it should go up by, as you level up. And I'm just like, bro, I don't think you quite understand how time works for playing a tabletop game. Like each phase, you gotta account for minimum 5 minutes per player. Right? Yeah. Like,
they
so
I'm like, think about what they want to do. Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, so if you have a combat system that's turn ordered, you have to assume each combat turn is going to take at least 5 minutes per player. And if each player has different units, that time allotment is going to go up from there. So, and then you've got the phases of each turn. You're going to have movement, you're going to have combat actions, and then you're going to have special actions. You could have bonus actions. So the time is going to increase as the game goes on. And then I'm like, and then he wants to add like gathering resources and building up bases and stuff. The idea is to make all these little miniatures, like little miniature set pieces and terrain and shit, and have them all be a functional part of the game. And I'm like, bro, you're talking about like you'd have to probably sit down for 4 or 5 hours just to play one level 1 game with this shit, unless like and I'm like racking my brain trying to figure out how to make this work. And the only thing I could really come up with for it was like, okay, so the only thing I could think of is,
I want to nail this board to this post. Okay, roll to strike. Critical failure. You've broken your thumb.
Right. Well, I'm like, okay, so basic what he wanted to do was basically wood, stone, and metal or something like that. We'll
Right.
just go with that. Were the three basic resources.
Okay.
And the only thing I could think of to not make this like an amazing time sink is to have those be like combat rewards, right? Based on the unit. So, say you have like just you have a human survivor, right? And on his like and that unit is going to have a resource gain if they survive a combat encounter, right?
Right.
Like as like an ending phase to the end of combat. We fought off the demons. Now we have X amount of we have X amount of days to search for supplies, and this guy can find X amount of wood and X amount of metal a day, right?
Right.
That's the only way I could figure to make that work because it makes the calculations just snappy. You know what I mean? You could just be like, okay, I've got 3 days, I get this much per day.
Yeah.
This is what I've gathered. And then you move on to, okay, what can I build and how long do I have to build it? Do I have time to build it? You know what I mean?
Yeah. There's
So,
a good survival board game analog called Dead of Winter. You ever played it?
no, but I think I've seen it at the comic shop before.
Yeah, it's a fun game, but basically it's so you're a bunch of survivors trying to survive a zombie apocalypse in the dead of winter, and that's why it's called that. And the whole idea is, you're presented with different events each round, and it could be you find some survivors, or it could be you find someone stealing food, and then you as either the leader or you as a group have to decide what to do. And the whole thing is the scenario. There's different scenarios, and one scenario might be you need to fortify the structure because there's a bunch of zombies that are going to be coming in, or you need to go and get ammo, which means you need to explore outside of your compound at some of the different areas, and each of those areas bring with them their own threats and that kind of stuff. So it's essentially a survival game, but a board game. And then you have so much food that you have to give up every round at the end of every round. And if you can't meet your food requirements, then your morale goes down. If your morale gets to a certain point and your food gets to a certain point, you'll lose the game. But yeah, and then eventually you get people who like there's a revolt because they're not happy. So people either leave the colony or they try and they start attacking the players because the players are sort of like the player characters, and then the followers or the residents are just like they're tokens essentially. But you've got to keep them fed and keep them happy, kind of thing. So yeah, fun game though.
Yeah, and I was thinking of something like that too. That one of the because he was talking about basically he wanted something like that where the survivors are banding together and shit. And I'm
Yeah,
thinking, okay, make one of the resources since it's all based on heaven and hell and a war and shit. Make one of the resources souls, right? And the
yeah,
way you explain it is while you're searching for resources, you find other survivors, people that just need to be taken care of, that can help, that maybe reduce build time for structures and shit like that.
right.
Which I thought that would be a pretty cool thing. But then you'd have to throw in some kind of balancing act, like you said they have with the food might run out, or there
Right.
might be a revolt. There'd have to be a morale system. But every time you add something like that, you have to take into account a bunch of shit, like how much time is this going to add, how complex is this going to make the game, and then ultimately on the design end you have to think, okay, so if we're going to have all this, how do we make it cost effective to produce as a tabletop or a board game, right?
Right.
Because if you're using plastic can get expensive. If you're using plastic minis,
Right.
metal's even worse. Cardboard is cheap,
Yeah.
but the quality's not there, not
Right.
going to be
Yeah, I
amazing.
mean,
You know what I
you can
mean?
make some really good like standees, but I think getting the game's rules down is probably first and foremost. The idea of having a hell though is really kind of cool because there's a system in Dead of Winter where somebody, and this isn't always the case, but somebody might be a traitor. So somebody might be trying to undermine the survival of the group, trying to undermine the goal of the group for the game. So in this heaven and hell situation, you could have somebody who is part of the surviving, like each player has their own character, right? And one of the characters determined at random at the beginning, might be corrupted by hell, and maybe multiple are. And so the idea is that the people who are playing for hell, they can't reveal that they're playing for hell, but they're trying to undermine the people who are playing for heaven in terms of, redeeming souls, or, the survival of the camp or whatever, right? So that
That's
would be
actually
cool.
something I had thought about throwing in there because so Porpoise is real big on card games. He loves
Yeah.
he plays like Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, and if it's a collectible card game or mostly digital, but he loves that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And one of the things I thought about throwing at him just as an idea pitch are random event cards. So you take a stack of maybe between, I don't know, probably 30 is probably going to be the best number. Although 30 is enough to where you're not going to get the same you're not going to get the same cards essentially, hopefully in you're not going to get the same card twice in a match,
Right.
but it's just it's enough to where you're not going to get the same cards in a match. And if you wanted to move into expanding the random event cards for different settings or different seasons or expansions later on, you can do it. And that's a decent number of cards, right? So and that would be one of them, is like maybe somebody in your group, like you just pull a random event card and it's like possession. Somebody's given over to their evil nature and they become possessed, and you lose so much, or it'll throw you into a small combat scenario that's over in like one or
Yeah.
two turns. You know what I mean? Something like that.
30 is
And
good because you can have an event every day, and maybe the whole premise behind the game is
survive
30
for a
days.
month. That's
It's
actually
30
not
days
bad.
till judgment kind of thing, right? And
Hold
then
up.
come
I
judgment.
gotta write that down. Hold on, Ernst. That's actually really good.
Each day you have an event, and in 30 days is when the game ends. So 30 turns or 30 events, and one event could be really cool that helps your group of survivors, and one event could be really bad, and it could be, temptation. It could be some survivor has done something atrocious, and then you have to decide, do they get kicked out of the group, or do they stay in the group, or whatever, right? And all the while, one of the players could be a corrupt individual who's trying to prevent them from, getting God's favor so that they can be taken on up at the end of the 30 days kind of.
Yeah, that's actually a really good idea. That would actually help a lot with his whole a simple game should take the 40 minutes to an hour, and that would help out a lot, because instead of doing
You're
a
putting a
turn structure,
time
you could
limit
just,
on it. Yeah.
the start of each turn, you flip a random event card, right? And then you
Yeah.
just go from there. You might not have combat every turn, but you've got, the game is going to take a set of 30 rounds. You know how long it's going to be. Boom, boom. Then it's just figuring out the time placement for everything that's going to happen in between. Hell yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a cool idea. Do you know what type of 3D printer he has? I have one. I was going to fire it up before tonight's live stream, but I'm like, it'll be too noisy.
No, I'm not sure. He just mentioned his somebody in his family came over and helped him set it up. He just got it, so he's
It's
all
fun.
about it. I
3D
was
printers
telling
are fun, man.
that's man, I wish I was competent enough to try to figure out how to design shit for it, but I could not sit there in front of a computer with the art programs and try to figure out all the dimensions of everything and what everything needed to be and what needs to be printed first and how, like, I couldn't do it. I just don't have the head for it. I'm more of a wordsmith, believe it or not. Like, I could sit down and describe something like, okay, it should look like this, and these should be the details, and it should have, like, I could go into diatribes and paint you a really beautiful picture of a piece with
Yeah.
words. But you give me any kind of you want me to draw it or like actually put pen to paper and design something? Nah, it's gonna look like a third grader drew it.
I seldom design stuff in 3D. If I do something really basic, most times I just download stuff like this Cthulhu dice tower. I think I showed you guys this.
Yeah, you showed us that before. It's pretty dope.
Only one success. Not good.
That's what you
But
get for rolling.
I think this turned out really good because I think I picked the right color for it. This green is perfect for it.
Yeah, that vomit green.
Yeah.
Let's see,
Good
Nano
RPG
Reapers.
doesn't require minis, says Nano Reaper. I agree. I'm a theater of the mind kind of guy. I'd rather just describe what's going on and let you figure it out in your own head what it looks like.
I
And then
agree
you
with
can,
RPGs, but I don't know if it's because I'm getting older or just because it's more fun to move pieces around a table. I'm getting really more into like strategic board games and stuff.
yeah,
Not so much tabletop war games because a lot of those get, I don't know, they just kind of get ridiculous with like having to measure movements. And like I know the last edition, I can't even remember which one it was of Warhammer that I got as far as rule books and shit goes. Bro, they had like you had to have like they were like custom measurement devices for
yeah,
explosion radiuses, and then it gets into all like it's just that's too much. I can't, ain't nobody got time for that. I'm
yeah.
30 or 40 years old. I do not have time for this.
Well, that's like, I mean, I remember when D&D Fourth Edition came out, they essentially turned it into a board game with like little action cards. I'm like, this doesn't feel like D&D. I was
Yeah,
always a theater of the mind kind of guy. We hardly ever used minis, and but I mean, I understand the appeal of the minis, but I find it bogs down play because then you're, like you said, you're looking at it, you're looking down at this table, and you're like, okay, is this guy within range? Where the DM can just say, so what do you want to do? I'm going to shoot my acid bolt at him. Can I hit him? And then in your head he's 50 feet away. Acid bolt only goes 30 feet or whatever. Nah, he's a little too far for your acid bolt. What do you want to do instead? You know,
yeah. So
you
what
know,
we would do is instead, because we were poor as dirt. Like we never actually had D&D books. We either had to memorize shit or we had to come up with our own game systems back in the day. Once we all started getting into it,
yeah,
and all we would do is when it came to like judging distance and shit, if somebody couldn't like see it in their head, we'd just be like, okay, this 3-sided die is the tree, this 6-sided die is the orc, and this quarter is where you're at. So which
right,
which direction are you going? You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. If you have to visualize it, you don't need miniatures. The problem is when you start investing in miniatures and terrain and stuff, you feel obligated to use it.
Oh
And
yeah,
it really
because
does make it look nice on the board and stuff like that. But I find it can slow shit down.
I just spent $10 on this sweet ranger figurine. You best
That's
believe it's
right.
gonna be in the middle of my fucking table, right?
Yeah.
It's just useful reference,
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, and I've been reading up on the chase rules in Savage Worlds for Elf Camino, and I'm reading them. I'm like, these are too fucking arcane. They're just insanely complicated for what should be a fast-paced situation where you're on a motorbike, and you're chasing down an orc who's driving an F-150 and shooting you with an Uzi out the back window. Like, that should be a dynamic thing where I can understand why it would be cool to have little matchbox cars on the table doing the chase, but I mean, that's what they do in courtrooms, and that's not entirely exciting, is it? I'd rather just describe it and roll the dice to see if you succeed, right? But
Did I ever show you the little system that I was working on a little while ago for so I decided I wanted to do a tournament style skirmish game based on Dragon Ball Z. So it's all
okay,
just movement, melee, and energy blast, right? Like those are your three basic actions that you can do. And I came up with a system that's actually really fucking fast paced. But where it gets complex is outside of the combat. So when your minis aren't on the table and you're just like adventuring around the world or whatever, there's different trainings you can take. So I had to come up with lists of like different techniques that you would learn from different schools and all this other crazy shit. So like the character creation is like you gotta choose a race, you've got to choose a martial arts school, you got to make all these choices and then you put it all together. But then when it comes to the combat, a combat could be over in like 2 rounds if you're lucky. You know what I mean? If you get really lucky rolls. And the dice system was like it was a pool system, but it used a bunch of different kinds of dice. I think I went with 3-sided up to 8, and then the higher level games you could add like a 10 and a 12 to it and shit like that. But it was really fun. I played a couple matches with my kid after I got like the basics hammered out, and they had fun with it. I'll screen cap some of that shit and send it to you. Let me know what
that'd
you
be
think,
cool.
Craig.
Yeah, once I get El Camino sort of like nailed down with what rules I'm gonna. I ordered the book for Savage Worlds, and it's coming to my U.S. mailing address next Tuesday, so I'll go and pick it up sometime next week. But yeah, once I get the rules sorted out and nailed down, I'm gonna run a game. I think I'll run it with my buddies at the cottage this summer, but I wouldn't mind doing one like online. I just need to find time to do it.
Yeah, that's gonna be everybody's thing now, especially with summer coming up. I'm gonna be
Yep.
working so much. I'm not gonna have much time to do shit.
Yeah, same. But I did download the Meetup app. Remember Meetup?
That's still around?
It's still around, man.
Holy shit.
I downloaded the app so I can like find game groups if I want to.
Have you used it yet? Have you gone to a meetup?
No, I haven't gone to it yet. I open it up every now and again and say, yeah, what's going on?
Let me know how that goes. I'm convinced that that's I don't know. I feel like I'd go to a meetup and it'd be a bunch of mutants and I'd fucking have to run out
Oh
of
yeah, no doubt,
anything.
especially when you're getting into really nerdy shit like role playing games. It's gonna be full of mutants.
Yeah, especially nowadays. Like I feel like you go to a meetup and then you'd show up and there'd be like 4 dudes in dresses and
Yeah.
maybe one chick who's like the size of a fucking Volkswagen Beetle. You know what I mean?
I should post a meetup saying, hey, I'm on this date. I'm running a game at this particular location. No troons.
They
No troons allowed.
they would take it down in a heartbeat, bro.
Yeah, probably. Because look,
So,
man, I don't want. Here's the thing: I don't want boring people in my game. And if you're a tranny because you're boring. You have nothing else going on in your life, and you think that by being, weird and out there and wearing a fucking dress and dyeing your hair purple, somehow that makes you interesting. It doesn't. It just makes you obviously boring.
yeah, it makes you a normie at this point.
It's
So,
true, right? We're the weird ones because I don't have a tattoo on my body. You don't have any tattoos? You're so weird.
shit. Yeah, I can't say that. I'm getting to the point where I'm gonna be mostly tattoos before too long.
You can join the Yakuza.
What's that?
You're gonna join the Yakuza, get a whole sleeve and join. Hey, I got the tattoos. Let me in.
Unfortunately, I've got tattoos in places where the Yakuza tuxedo tats or what, or bodysuit tats, where
Yeah.
they would have to cover them up, and I like my tattoos. I'm not covering any of them up.
Oh, that's cool.
I would like to. I'm kicking around the idea of oh, what the fuck are they called? They're like these little round Japanese dolls. I can't remember what the fuck they're called. It starts with a D. But I'm kicking around the idea of getting them one of those. But I don't know yet. I got a bunch of shit I'd like to get done. I'd like to get an Akira Toriyama tattoo too,
Yeah.
just because Dragon Ball Z, and all that shit was like a big part of my childhood, man. So when he died, like that actually kind of hit me a little harder than I expected it to.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. But I mean, you'll always have his work, right? So.
Oh yeah.
I never watched Dragon Ball Z, and to be honest, I couldn't tell you what the main gist behind it is. My understanding is that there's a bunch of people who are competing to collect Dragon Balls. Is that the idea?
It's essentially Japanese superheroes, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's literally it's
Yeah.
it's
Okay.
Japanese Avengers.
It's
But
gonna be
they're not
hard.
like they're not joining a team to fight off an alien invasion. They're all individually trying to achieve something to be like the number one.
They're all obviously like they're all trying to get stronger, but usually the reason they're trying to get stronger is because there's an alien invasion coming, or because there's some great evil that's shown up and is threatening the world.
Oh, I thought it was all just like, only the most powerful can collect all the Dragon Balls. So
no, anybody can collect the Dragon Balls. Actually, the first wish in the original Dragon Ball series, the first wish made on the Dragon Ball in the series was for the world's most comfortable pair of underwear made by the weakest character in the entire series, who's like an anthropomorphic little midget pig guy named Oolong.
He just wants really, really comfy underwear.
Well, he was trying to stop the big bad evil guy of that arc, from making the wish. So he just runs in and he just screams it at the top of his lungs, and that's his wish. The dragon says it is done and then disappears, and a pair of panties falls from the sky, and he wears it as a hat for like fucking 4 seasons.
I should go back and watch it. I remember seeing there's so many memes from Dragon Ball Z, so I should go watch it.
It'll be very hard to watch if you didn't grow up with it, if it wasn't like something, because it is so dragged out, so campy,
Z
so
is,
ridiculous.
Start with Dragon Ball, man. Dragon Ball, you got to start with the original series, just because it's not super serious.
That's the more juvenile of the series, right?
Yes,
Yes,
there's a lot more
Goku's
gags in
actually
it.
literally a child.
Yeah, there's a lot more gags in it. It's got a nice mix of funny and serious moments. The combat scenes, in my opinion, are just as good, if not better, than some of the stuff in Z. But it's definitely a different experience than like watching Dragon Ball Z or Dragon Ball Super.
See, I have a hard time with certain types of anime. Actually, most anime I don't like, because in just about every anime, like I got really into Demon Slayer. You ever watch Demon Slayer?
Yeah, I've watched I think we've got like 4 seasons out, or 4 arcs, and I've watched 3 of them because my kid got into it. So me and her sat down and watched
I started watching the first season and I really got into it. I really liked the character. And then partway through the first season, they introduced this really annoying character who's constantly screaming and
the
panicking.
blonde kid. Yes, that almost made me stop watching it too.
Why does every goddamn show have to do this? Why do they need this? Like, it's like, remember Snarf from fucking Thundercats? Thundercats was cool, had a lot of cool characters, and they all did really cool acrobatic cat-like fucking fighter things. And then you had this stupid character Snarf, and it made the fucking show awful.
It's the same thing with He-Man and Ortho. Ortho was annoying as fuck.
Yeah, Ortho being like the goofy fucking wizard who was completely useless and was just there for comic relief. Why do you need it? Why do you need, just make a good fucking G.I. Joe didn't have it.
Did you make it through the first season of
goofball?
Did you make it through the first season of Demon Hunter?
I don't think I did, because that fucking kid.
Suffer through it, because he's not in the second season, he's not as loud and annoying, and then in like I think the season after that, he's not in it much at all.
Yeah,
and then
I have a hard time getting through. Like, it's why I like shows like what do you call it? Fucking Samurai Champloo, because the most annoying character is the girl that's tagging along with the two of the guys, right? And she's
annoying in a tolerable way.
She's tolerable, yeah. And even in Cowboy Bebop, Ed is tolerable. Ed's annoying, but Ed's tolerable.
It's so with the chick from Samurai Champloo and Ed from Cowboy Bebop, they were annoying as part of their character, right? Like they just acted that way. Whereas like the stupid, like I gotta scream at the top of my lungs and freak out about everything, like that just seems like it's like that seems ham-fisted in.
Yeah, it's forced.
You know what I mean?
It's forced. Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen Blue Eye Samurai?
I have not.
It's really good. I'm not gonna lie, it's really fucking good.
Oh yeah, I'm just waiting for another season of One Punch Man to come out, man. That and Chainsaw Man, those are my jams right now.
I haven't been watching Chainsaw Man. I have been watching. I'm slowly being propagandized to become a Christian, because I've been watching Angel Studios a lot, and I have been watching the Wing Feather Saga. Wing Feather Saga is really fucking good. If you don't mind paying for a streaming service that's like, you know, very, very Christian and very, very wholesome and shit, Angel Studios streaming service is pretty good, and the Wing Feather Saga is fucking amazing.
Hell yeah, I have to see if I can. I'll have to see if I can find that one.
You can probably find it torrented somewhere.
What was the other one? Somebody recommended to watch something called Jujutsu Kaisen, and that's apparently supposed to be really good. And all I've seen of it was one fight scene, and it is the most amazing artwork as far as like a high speed like combat from anime that I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And it looks like it's all hand drawn. Like it doesn't look like there's any, if there is, it's very light on the 3D effects or the CGI. And it's just like, I'm blown away that like, I want to know how long it took them to animate some of this shit, because it's just bonkers. There was another one that I was watching, and I can't remember the name of it, but my kid got me into it. Black Butler or something like that. It's about
Sounds
this.
Oh
familiar.
yeah, yeah.
I think it's about this kid, and like his butler is the devil, or like a devil or something like that. But it's
I've
like
never seen it,
protecting
but
him,
I've
and
heard about it.
Yeah,
yeah,
I've heard the name sounds familiar. Yeah. Hey, who is Leonarda Joni anyway? That's what this whole thing was about.
yeah. I was gonna ask a second ago, Irving. We kind of hijacked your show. You got any other
Yeah,
topics,
it's all
man?
good.
I got everything out I needed to get about how pissed off I am at Sony, and then we switched over to talking about games.
Leonarda Joni is a comedian who is so fucking toxic that she would give you a run for your money, my guy. She's just
Oh,
fucking fantastic. I love her so much.
Is she toxic like Sarah Silverman, like circa 1992?
No, she's proper toxic. Let me see
Okay.
if I can share with you here. Like, yeah, it's fucking brutal. Yeah, that's the one. Here we go. Okay, let's take a look at some of her tweets here. Can we make this one bigger? Can we read that? Now that Nick Fuentes is back, this account will be less active. Are we the same person? Let's just say we've never been in the same room. Fuck. She's been on fire the past couple days. Where is it? Yeah. If I was destroying and subverting a country, I would make laws that would make it illegal for you to point it out. Just saying.
Yep. Jesus Jews. Jesus Jews.
Oh man, it's flooded with terribleness now.
Does she have some stand-up you want to share?
Oh no, just the Twitter feed was on fire.
Oh, okay.
Weird.
Six was asking who the production company was for the Jujutsu Kaisen. I have no clue, but I know it was one that they had a total revolt of the animators. The last couple episodes of it they were under such a time crunch that they couldn't get the
I
coloring.
just read that one. Same thing with the gays. That's why we locked them in the closet. Oh my god.
You're not a lesbian. You just got fat.
Well, lesbians aren't real anyway.
Shit, I can't read these.
Get your glasses, old man.
Stop Asian hate of black people. The hate in question.
The rooftop Koreans?
Yep.
White boy summer,
White boy
protect
summer.
the youth. Yeah, you saw that, eh?
I heard about it.
Yeah.
I don't know who needs to hear this. Jews. Jews need to hear this. Anti-Semitism is protected speech.
Way
Yep.
vague.
I've been out
down.
here tweeting day and night. What's a girl got to do to get on the ADL list? I was wrong about white supremacy. The blacks have educated me. It's true. We are better.
What was that thing, my uncle? I'm not racist. What was that? It was like a meme with a fucking shark or a fish or something. Scroll down a bit.
Oh, I don't know. Where's
Oh,
fuck,
wow.
I should have just screenshotted something. There was something great. Imagine being so triggered by the cross you literally cannot look at it. Isn't this what happens to demons and vampires? Makes you think. Jews are demons and vampires. That's what I'm saying.
Wow. I did not know that's what they do. That's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, I've tried to tell you.
I asked Steven Spielberg what happened to Heather O'Rourke.
She died of an anal obstruction, and everyone thought that was normal for a small child.
Yeah, I heard that.
What?
Yeah. The girl from Poltergeist. She was
Yeah.
anally raped on set. Not necessarily by Spielberg, but Spielberg was there. Like
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
What the fuck is that?
What, this one?
Yeah.
The Jews are starving little boys and girls to death while the whole world is watching it unfold and doing nothing. Do you guys think 9/11 was an inside job, or you think it was the Jews?
I mean, they were dancing on 9/11. I'm just saying.
Dancing Israelis. That's anti-Semitism, to see them dancing.
I know correlation doesn't equal causation and all, but I'm saying.
No, I mean, it's just...
Is that some of her stand-up there? Scroll up a bit.
Holy shit, was that Dora the Explorer with Steve Harvey's face? That was terrifying. Hell yeah, I've got that meme. I am not getting any audio.
Yeah, me either. But I can read
Oh,
it.
fuck. That's too bad. No, yeah. I'm sure she was doing this all in response to the new anti-Semitism bill. Which was, its own thing. Yeah. Hey, cool. Is that the way I want to present this?
It's up to you, man.
Because, yeah, there was that weird anti-Semitism bill that passed. And this this banner may look weird to you. It's from an old internet joke. Somebody wondered why their phone charger said plus Jews on it, ! It turns out it was upside down and it says iSmart. So there we go. The response to the anti-Semitism bill is what she was getting at there.
Yeah.
And because there's a major problem with that anti-Semitism bill. And it's that the bill itself doesn't define anti-Semitism. It says the definition elsewhere, right? And that definition includes what they call classic anti-Semitism, like claims that the Jews killed Jesus. As a means of
bullshit.
As a means of characterizing Israel or Israelis as a whole. Now, okay, so that's the argument that people are making, that it's only as a classification of Israel or Israelis as a whole. But it doesn't matter because the bill doesn't define anti-Semitism. So the legislation is in place, but the definition is outside the legislation. No legislation is required to change that definition. If someone just starts changing that definition, third party, the legislation forces that. And that's the real insidious part, because the ADL tried saying, tweets of Christ is king are actually anti-Semitic dog whistles. So who knows? Like according to this bill, thousands of years of Christian and Catholic philosophy are illegal anti-Semitism now.
Well, it's a moot point because the bill is clearly unconstitutional. It gets struck down by the
Thank
Supreme
you.
Court.
I was gonna say that. I was just waiting for my turn.
Sorry, buddy.
You're good. Hey, I'm glad everyone else sees it. I mean, it's if there's any kind of justice, if it makes it past the Senate, and then if it gets signed into law, the Supreme Court's gonna have to rule on it. That'll be the last stopgap. And if they fucking decide, oh yeah, totally within the confines of the Constitution, then we're fucked. That's when the day of the ropes needs to happen. It needs to happen at that point.
I think it's happening either tomorrow or the next day. I think it's sometime next week. Maybe it's the 15th. I'm not sure. That's when they're coming down on the decision of whether or not a former president is immune for prosecution for things he did while president, as in his role as president. And
I kind of want them to pass that. Like, I know it's a let's get Trump TDS kind of a situation.
Yeah.
I want them to pass it, dude. They're fucked.
What do you mean you
Obama's
want
gonna
to
get
pass it? Oh, the law.
Huh?
You want?
I
want
them to make former presidents to be able to be tried or whatever for shit they did when they were president, because that's going to put Obama on the chopping block. It's going to fuck Trump, I get that, but it's also going to put Biden on the chopping block, and anybody that comes after him, anybody before past, present, and future, they're all done, and they all need to be guillotined anyway, most of them. So Trump is a sacrifice I am willing to make to take out those other motherfuckers.
I hear what you're saying. My opinion is, and I'm not a constitutional scholar by any means, but my opinion, I'm aligning with the council that is advocating for presidential immunity, executive immunity, because the fact of the matter is, he's right. If a president could face prosecution for anything he did in his official capacity as president, while president, he would be paralyzed from doing anything. He needs to be given a certain amount of immunity. Otherwise, he can't do his fucking job. So,
yeah, but I mean, we're dealing with people that are willing to cut off their nose and spite their face.
Oh, I know.
Hey, I say give them what they want at this point. Fuck it. Who cares? I mean, realistically, yeah, it's bullshit. It's the dumbest thing they could ever come up with.
Especially
it's
since
going to cause more problems than solve anything.
Charge him with. Like this all comes down to his involvement in January 6th and his idea that he wanted to bring out in alternate electors, and they kept calling them fraudulent electors. They weren't fraudulent electors; they were just alternate electors, like they did in Hawaii back in the day in JFK's election. So, and that's part of the constitutional process to put forward a slate of alternate electors in dispute of the results of the election. So, anyway. But throughout the entire Supreme Court case, the guy who was arguing against the immunity was calling them fraudulent electors. They're not fraudulent electors. They're just alternates. In the same way that alternate electors get put forward all the time by, I think Gore, when he lost, put through alternate electors, and they were denied, but he wasn't breaking the law to say, let's have some alternate electors. Sorry,
I found this. This was the one I was really looking for. Remember when Jews were like, we're white, you should hate us. Then everybody hated white people, and Jews were like, just playing, we're not white. Then white people said, hey, Jews, stop making people hate us. And the Jews were like, anti-Semitism is on the rise. Good times.
That's pretty good. Accurate.
Good times quoted. Salute. It says they killed him in the Talmud, a well-respected Jewish text. Good news, Irving. Boston finally eliminated the Leafs.
Yeah. Finally. Leafs don't win Game 7s. This is well known, well documented.
Yeah, they've been cursed. They can't win Game 7.
No, can't be done. Yeah, like, I mean, you know, it's repeated over, and there's been a lot of people who aren't even like Christian, or like, yeah, but the Jews did kill Jesus. Like, Pontius Pilate washes his hands of it. That's the whole thing. Like,
yeah,
he keeps insisting he didn't break Roman law. It's not,
Yeah.
Not my
You
problem.
guys want him? That's right. He says,
Yeah,
look, all he did was say words. We don't give a fuck about what kind of words he says.
he literally
You
gave
want
him
him
the
executed,
choice.
you can execute him.
Who was it? What was the other guy's name? Barabbas or
Barabbas.
something like. Yeah, Barabbas.
Yeah.
He literally gave them the choice. This man who claims to be king of the Jews, or this dude who's been confirmed to be a scumbag. Which one do you want? And they were like, "We'll take the scumbag. Get the king of the Jews out of here."
Yeah. We Swaja. Who is Warwick? You know what I'm quoting, right?
No,
Life of Brian.
I haven't seen it in forever.
Oh, they're trying to get him to. She tries to get him to, like, he says, on this Easter celebration, we're going to release one of the criminals, but of course it's Pontius Pilate, and he has a speech impediment. We will release one of the criminals. Who would you like us to release? And they're, release Wanja. We don't have a Wanja.
Orthodox Easter, dude. There was a clip. I think it was from not Trailer Park Boys, the other Canadian show that was really fucking good. But the Hillbillies and the Hicks. What the hell was the name of that show? I know you know what I'm talking about.
Corner Gas.
What's that?
Oh no, not Corner Gas. Letterkenny.
Letterkenny, that's what it was. The big fat dude that they hang out with, their neighbor buddy.
Yeah,
He's hanging out.
I'll
Did I ever
you.
tell you guys about the first Easter? Jesus invited all of his friends over for dinner, and he said, "Hey Judas, could you feed my pet bunny before we enjoy these chocolates?" And then the Romans came.
Oh, fuck.
Amen.
Hey, why is there an Orthodox Easter and a Gentile Easter or another Easter? Why are there two?
Or Roman
I
Catholic
think it's
Easter.
it has something to do with
The calendar change.
calendars. Yeah, calendar changes. 'Cause we go by what was the
The
Gregorian
Gregorian
calendar that we use, and they're using ancient Roman calendars. Something like that.
The Julian calendar they still use, right?
Oh, okay.
So but also there's a different, they calculate the date of Easter differently, right? So the Roman Catholics calculate Easter without taking into account actual Passover. The Orthodox take actual Passover, and and Easter is the following Sunday.
What date is it on the Julian calendar today? Today's Julian date is 24/1/25.
It's just a bunch of numbers. What the hell does that even mean?
Yeah, I don't know what that means. What I know is that
that's like trying to read a date in Skyrim where it's like fucking it's the 39th of fucking Eastar and shit.
Yeah.
On Morndas.
Yeah.
It's a difference of a bunch of days. It's like 8 days. Let's see here. The Julian calendar is a solar calendar of 365 days with an additional leap day. Without exception, the Julian calendar is still used as a religious calendar in the Eastern Orthodox Church and in parts Oriental Orthodoxy, as well as the Amazigh people, also the Berbers.
But basically, Christmas is on January 7th, and Easter is the Sunday after the Jews decide Thursday's Passover.
Okay.
Right. So, like, because it's also a very weird calculation anyway. It's in the Roman Catholic calendar, the Gregorian calendar, they decide it's the first Sunday after the first full moon after the vernal equinox.
Okay.
Right.
So it changes all the time.
Right. But
it sounds like woman science.
Passover is the first Thursday after the first full moon after the vernal equinox. So those two things may not line up properly. Yeah.
I think we should just have a 13-month calendar, personally.
Yeah, probably easier.
The negative reviews for Helldivers are down another percent. It's down to 22% recent and 56% all time.
Wow.
Let's go. We can get it lower than that, boys.
Down with Sony's tyranny. There's a lot of just like thumbs down. I'm doing my part.
Oh
I've
yeah,
seen,
dude. There's
I think I've
tons
seen
of
about
them.
100 of them. And like now, and some of them are like review divers too. Join the cause.
That's right.
Review divers.
Oh, one of the funniest things that happened with that earlier was Sony was doing a Tekken tournament and fucking they got rated on Twitch to the point where the moderators they banned the word Helldiver in the Twitch chat. You couldn't if you typed in Helldivers, it would just take it out, or when they were banning people. They looked on YouTube, you could tell when they were reading the chat because they were, doing their commentary thing while the fights were going on, and then it goes to the hosts of it, and you could just the look on their face when they're looking at these chats, they were just like taken aback, like, what in the fuck is happening? It's fucking great. And that's what it was, a ton of people. I was even in there dropping it. I'm doing my part. Free the Helldivers. Down with Sony. 30 on 30.
Oh yeah, like and like just browsing through the most recent reviews, it is very clearly like 99+%. You know what I mean? You browse through 100 or more negative thumbs down, and then one really poorly written thumbs up post, as if it's like a bot, or Janny's trying to clean up the mess by throwing in a positive review here and there.
Oh yeah, what's great is when the positive reviews, the recent ones were first popping up, people were checking the accounts and they've got like either no play time in the game or they've got maybe an hour and a half. So these are very obviously employees who made Steam accounts to try to fucking mitigate some of the damage, but we're just the scorned Helldivers are just too powerful.
Yeah. Oh yeah. It's just too many. Yeah, I had so many topics. We didn't get into anything. We'll have to do it next week.
My bad. I keep doing this. Every time I show up, I end up hijacking the show for the
You
last.
son of a bitch. I wouldn't worry about it, man.
I just need to, man. I need to get my channel going again. One of you guys.
Yeah, why don't you do the Toxicast?
One of you guys needs to be my Jamie, and then we can just have a show where we just talk about what the fuck ever. So that way, you guys can do your topic show, and then we can just cuss and call each other nigger for 2 hours on my channel, and you guys ain't got to worry about being banned.
Sorry, who's going to be your Jamie?
One of you guys is gonna have to do it. I can't run OBS. I don't even have a desk. I've got my computer hooked up to a big 70-inch TV, and I just play video games on it. So
What are you on right now? Your phone?
What's that?
What are you on right now? Your phone?
No, I've got my headset on. I'm sitting on my porch. I've got a wireless headset and mic. So
fun fact, the Orthodox Church of the Holy Sepulchre in Jerusalem has the Greeks in the main altar. The Russians and Ukrainians have to use the back lot, and we keep the Ethiopians in the basement.
All things.
But I want to circle back. You were talking about awesome animes and some fight scenes and shit. Still to this day, one of my favorite fight scenes, and I would argue one of the best fight scenes, not just in an anime, but in like all film ever, is from Street Fighter 2, the animated movie, Chun-Li versus Vega. It is fucking phenomenal.
Where he attacks her in the shower.
Yup.
Yeah, that was a good one. They did Vega really fucking good in that one, because like in the games you could do the thing where like if you were on his level you could climb on the fence.
Yeah.
And leap at the your opponent and shit. And when he comes in, like he sneaks in the window, and I believe like there's a scene where he's like hanging on the wall, he's up on the ceiling and shit.
Yeah, she's got these big exposed rafters in her huge loft apartment, and yeah, he's like using the claw to swing from, like he's very acrobatic. It's fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. It's a wild fight. Okay. So, let's do one. Let's do one. I've got a banner. Insekten gefunden.
What?
Insekten gefunden.
Okay.
Insects found. Yeah. So apparently in Europe, they have quietly legalized the inclusion of insects as ingredients in foodstuffs without having to label the product or even properly include it in the list of ingredients.
Oh no.
Some German genius invented an app that you can just scan the product and it'll tell you
If it's got bugs in it.
Insekten gefunden. There's insects in this product. So
Holy shit.
it's all, yeah, you just use your phone, scan it, Insekten gefunden, and you don't buy that product. Yeah.
That's good for Germany. What about here?
Oh, I'm sure it's available for anyone to download it. It just happened to be in German language. I don't know if there's like proper English translations, but Insekten gefunden is pretty straightforward. Like,
Oh man, we really are gonna fucking slip into a cyberpunk dystopia, bro.
Yep.
Without all the cool shit, this is gonna suck.
Yeah,
Silent
if you
green
showed-
is bugs.
if you showed people in the 1950s video and photographs of the modern West, they would tell you you are living in that cyberpunk dystopia.
Yep. Yeah, just so
Yeah.
show them fucking San Francisco. This is San Francisco in 2024, and they'd be like, "What the fuck happened to this country?" Massive
I
city block, but yeah, there'll be Mega City 1, Mega City 3.
that's the future that we're headed for. To be honest with you, man, it's coming.
Yeah.
It's only a matter of time. Like, I'm waiting for. I feel like it's gonna happen probably somewhere in the Midwest first, where they do the fucking Hunger Games thing, where uh everybody who doesn't live in a big metropolitan center is just gonna be essentially fucking farm slaves. You know what I mean? And then you're gonna have these huge, massive population centers that are it's either gonna be like hell on earth where everybody just lives in a fucking 10 by 10 cube. You know what I mean? Packed in with 3 other people, or it's gonna be like the ultra wealthy that have all this all this space that they
Yeah.
can just roam around in.
That's right. The George Soroses and the fucking Klaus Schwab and his kid, they're all gonna have nice big,
There was a
nice big
movie.
modern art fucking houses in the woods, and we're all gonna be living in little 15-minute cities.
Mhm. There was a movie with Justin Timberlake in it that came out years ago.
With the
That
time?
was with where it was like a tattoo on their arm that counted down, and you
Yeah,
had
how much
like
time they had left? Yeah.
you had to make any purchases with the time you had left to live.
And you get paid in time, and if your time drops to 0, you die.
Yeah, your heart just stops. So I don't know about all that shit. That's a little wild. But like, if you watch the movie, when he pulls up to the first mega city and he's got to keep paying the tolls to get in, and he's got like 1,000 years on his arm or whatever, and then he finally gets in. That's what we're headed towards, is something like that, where there's gonna just be a million roadblocks into these ultra wealthy cities, and everyone else is just left to fucking suffer.
Yep. Or you fucking drop out of society altogether. You say, you know what? I don't need the modern convenience. It's gonna be like that Black Mirror episode where it's all gonna be social credit, right? Smile and behave well, and you'll be able to get to places. And if you don't, then you lose access to first class airlines, and then it'll be hotels, and then it'll be apartment blocks, and you won't be able to live in certain places unless you behave a certain way, right? And then people will just say, fuck it, I don't need a smartphone. There's going to be like I said, there's going to be a parallel society, parallel economy where people just say, don't need it. I'll go off and be self-reliant somewhere with a bunch of like-minded people. We'll have our own little private social network, and it'll be called In Person. And we're gonna hang out in like face to face and talk. We're not gonna concern ourselves with getting into that fancy fucking apartment complex. we're going to live in a shack in the woods. Be hermitages. There used to be hermitages where people who didn't want to be involved in like living in the city would go out and live in the fucking woods, and they would live in the woods as communities.
So this insect app, has there been any backlash to it? Like, has the EU got pissed that this app came out and now they can't sell the bug meat?
Oh, I haven't heard. I just saw the thing. I just saw the short video of someone scanning, and the thing, red alert, Insekten gefunden.
I wonder how long it takes before they start making shit like that illegal. Just because, like, I don't know. They'd find a way to justify it, but I could see anything that kind of alerts you to that bullshit being made illegal just because, oh, that's an easy way to not do what they tell you. You know what they mean?
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're not allowed to know what's in your food.
No, what the fuck is wrong with you? What are you doing?
Why don't you just trust Nestle? Nestle's a big company, but they wouldn't lie to you.
Yeah, the same company would. Weren't they putting shit in the water they were selling? They were selling water with like something
Chocolate.
fucked up.
You're putting chocolate in the water. And
Buy the chocolate water.
You.
No, but they were, and it wasn't like fluoride. I want to say it was something ridiculous, like some kind of like fat or cholesterol or some bullshit like that.
Probably
I don't
estrogen.
know.
It's probably estrogen to like reduce our testosterone count, make us all passive. And
well, I'm sure that just leaks out from the plastics in the bottle anyway.
Yeah.
So, guys, I've got to share a thing just because it's hilarious. Okay, so Adam's sin is passed down to each of us through his seed, literally a natura seminalis, seminal nature. This means that all who are conceived in the natural way, through sex without godly intervention, are recipients of this original sin. Sin is stored in the balls, St. Augustine.
It's true.
That's right.
Like piss.
So the only way to defeat original sin is to never drain your balls.
Twin, would you rather be alone in the woods with a bear or a woman?
Well, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be able to rape the bear.
Yeah,
I feel like...
but the bear also couldn't accuse you of rape when you just said hello.
I feel like I'd stand a better chance of taming the bear and not having to argue with it.
That's right. Can the bear talk? No. All right, then the fucking bear.
Yeah, let's go.
No, I made a tweet about this. Like, well, this dilemma thing is stupid. What the real dilemma would be is a woman's walking alone in the woods, and out comes a fucking bear, and the bear looks at her and says, "Yummy, I'm going to eat that woman." And then a man comes out and puts himself between the bear and the woman and says, "Get behind me." Which are you more afraid of right now, woman, bear or man? And in reality, you're gonna, if most women, if they saw a bear, they'd be like, "What the fuck am I gonna do?" They're not gonna be like, "Oh, thank God it's not a fucking man." Like, seriously, so stupid. Would you rather be stuck in the woods with a bear or an F slur? Wait, the bear might be an F slur. It could be a gay bear. Yeah.
Bro, what kills me about that is like the whole, like, I get it's a hypothetical and it's a feminist hypothetical, so by nature it's retarded, but like just the detachment from the natural world and reality in general that you would have to come up with, well, we just trust men so much that we'd rather live with this wild animal that could eat my face at any given second.
Right.
It's just, insanity, man.
Yeah, they say it's about, men, you need to listen to women, and it's like, no, people are oblivious. Like they're so city dweller that they are completely oblivious to the fact that their danger exists. Like
Margaret Avocad did a video on this. I watched it earlier before tonight's stream, and he was talking about there was a woman who was in the woods, was attacked by a bear, and eaten alive by her and her cubs, and was able to call her mom and plead with her mom, saying, "Mom, I'm being eaten by a bear." The fucking thing lasted like an hour because they
Yeah.
don't just
God.
kill you and then eat you; they'll eat you alive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what
So
they're used to. You ever seen a bear take down like a fucking elk
Elk?
or
yeah,
anything about the
they don't
same
need to
size?
kill it
Bro, they
because
just
they just
bite
have to put their
chunks.
body weight on it and just chew.
Bro, they'll just chase it down, and if they manage to rip off a chunk of meat or bite a piece off, they'll just sit there and gnaw on that and then track the motherfucker till they can pull off another piece if it's
Right.
still moving.
Right.
They don't give a fuck.
No, but what I'm saying is if a big fucking grizzly bear is able to get on top of you, they're not going to try and kill you. They're just going to start taking chunks out of you. And they
Yeah.
know that their body weight, you can't get away from them because they're just on top of you. Like, what are you going to do? They don't need to kill you, like break your neck so you stop struggling because they don't fucking care if you struggle.
And even if you were, the most all they'd have to do is give you one good smack and snap your spine. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like they
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got
it's-
some memes I dropped on you, Irving, in the DMs that are pertinent to the current conversation.
All right, let's see what I can do here. Oh yeah, there they are.
Did you send them directly to him or did you send them to the group chat?
I
Oh,
sent
to
them
me.
directly to Irving.
Oh, okay. So these will be new to me too.
I think I might have sent them to the group chat earlier this week because this whole bear man in the woods thing was fucking hilarious.
It's starting to make sense. Tall, brown, multiple baby mamas, unemployed, doesn't raise any kids, violent.
I wonder why they'd want to be alone with the bear in the woods.
I shared the bear versus man dilemma with my boyfriend and didn't get the response I expected. Now I'm sad. His response was, I think there are two questions there. One, the fear that women feel of men. Two, the total lack of knowledge that women have about what it means to meet a bear. Then I said it wasn't about the bear, but rather our perception of men. But he wanted to take another route. How many people know how to judge the differential danger of all these animals, and even an audio about statistics on the number of bears you encounter versus the number of men and the rate of bad interactions. Then I said, I'm not going to talk to you about this, okay? Because clearly we were having two separate conversations. And at that moment, I thought it was insensitive for him to go that route, and I didn't want to hear about it.
Yeah. You don't want
imagine-
to have your preconceived notions questioned or dismantled. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
even
called cognitive dissonance, and it's painful.
That's giving her too much credit. She just was pissed that he didn't just go along with what she was saying, agree with
I
whatever
asked the
dumbass shit was going to come out of her mouth.
I asked the wife because, of course, she's a normie, but this is seeped into normie discussions, right? And she's like, "Oh, I've heard about this. I don't know. I'd rather be in the woods with a man, I think." I'm like, "Yeah, I think you would too." She's like, "Because, if a man's going to attack me, I can kick him in the balls. The bear, I'll just die." I'm like, "Exactly."
I had somebody else. I had a chick tell me say the same thing earlier in a Discord server. She was like, if a bear gets violent, I'm dead. If a man gets violent, I could potentially smash his skull with a rock if I'm lucky. I'm like, yeah, good answer.
It's true.
Yeah, but
not only that, the fact is, if you were to encounter a man in the woods, what's likely going to happen? He's going to go, "Hey," and he's going to keep fucking walking. He doesn't give a shit about you. He's there for a hike.
Well, also,
he got to the woods to get away from the women in his life.
If you're deep enough in the woods that you might encounter a bear, any man you're going to encounter is a well-seasoned survivalist, most likely.
He's
He'll have
probably been
equipment.
tracking that bear.
Yeah, right. But also, this is a very disciplined human being, not a person who's likely prone to sudden outbursts of rape in the woods.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I framed it another way. I'm like, okay, so think of it this way. You're walking through the woods. You hear something rustling in the woods, and then you see a shape behind a bunch of trees. You're not quite sure. Could be a man, could be a bear. Which would you be more relieved to realize that it is? Because that's the real question.
Bear.
Oh God, thank goodness it's just a fucking bear. It's not a man.
There
He's gonna
was
rape me.
another meme that I had found. I'd have to hunt it down, but it's do you remember that new Baldur's Gate that came out that everybody made a big deal about
Oh yeah, where you can have
the
sex with the bear. Yeah.
yeah, it's a picture of that, and the caption just says, "What all these feminists think is going to happen when they meet a bear in the woods."
So true. Fuck.
Oh man. So I've got a Polish friend who's in sound engineering.
Yeah.
And a Czech one too. Czech one too.
Oh.
Oh, that was a good one. It was so bad it's good.
So. We're running a little late here tonight, Mr. Twin. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Well, let's see. I had bunches of banners and shit. There was actually stuff to talk about. Okay, how about let's go over them as quick as possible here. Chinese drug money in Canadian banks. I'm not mad about the money laundering. I'm mad that my savings account is getting 0.25%. King Charles is a vampire.
And
he is literally descendant of Vlad Tepes.
Is he really?
Yup.
Is he confirmed a blood drinker though?
Right. But years ago, Alex Jones tried to tell this to people on their podcast, and they laughed at him. That he's like, yeah, okay, yeah, he's the descendant of Dracula. He's literally descended from Vlad the Impaler. Yeah.
Hey, look. Say what you want about it, but Vlad the Impaler was one of the most base men to ever live. He impaled a bunch of fucking Muslim invaders and made sure that they didn't take over his territory. All right, I'm not gonna fucking hate on this man. He was the hero that they needed at the time.
Did you ever see Dracula Unbound?
No.
No.
It's brutal. It's about how basically he became Dracula.
Yeah, but is that the one where they totally romanticize it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's stupid and gay.
No, the fight, the action and death and murder was cool, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
You're the reason that they pick the bear, Sweaty. Okay.
Me? Why? Because I like action movie fucking fighting.
Yeah, obviously, all that violence and death and murder that you just said was cool is toxic.
It's pretty toxic. You're not wrong. Go for 3. Let's go for 3.
Our liberal government has more than doubled the debt accumulated by all other Canadian governments before them combined.
Hey, welcome to the club, bro.
Wants to go for 3, 3.5 to be fair. 1.2 trillion in debt. She wants to increase to 2.1 trillion. Yeah. So there was.
You know what? I'm beginning to think. You know why politicians want to, borrow money like this? Because they realize that money doesn't mean shit.
It's imaginary now.
Yeah, it's garbage. Yeah. So they're like, "Fuck it, run it up. Who cares?" The economy's going to collapse. We may as well try and do something that might be popular with a small demographic, with a group of people. We could try and buy votes by destroying the economy.
I don't even think it goes that deep. I think it's just an epidemic of people getting into positions of power that have more charisma than brains instead of a fucking balance of the two.
Yeah, I think it's Thomas Sowell was right. First rule of economics is scarcity. There's never enough of anything to satisfy the needs or wants of everybody. And the first rule of politics is to forget the first rule of economics.
That's pretty good.
Overdose overdrive.
Since the rollout of decriminalizing, which means decriminalizing drugs in BC and in Ontario, which basically means taxpayers now pay for meth and fentanyl and heroin and I think crack to be given out to people. Safe supply, they call it.
Yeah.
Given away for free to drug addicts. There used to be about 3 overdose deaths in the age brackets 10 to 18 in Canada. Oh, death by overdose is now the leading cause of death in that age bracket.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brutal.
So,
yeah, my
liberal
understanding is
policy literally kills children.
the safe supply, they're handing out hydromorphone, right?
Yeah.
And then they're selling the hydromorphone to get fentanyl and crack and all the other art stuff.
Is
And who they're selling the
hydromorphone some kind
hydromorphone
of
to?
bastard combination of morphine and hydrocodone or something?
Yeah, it's,
So,
it's supposed
God.
to be
It's, it's literally Dilaudid, formerly called or colloquially called laudanum. It's heroin in a drink.
Yeah.
And then they put it in a pill.
Yeah, they make it into a pill.
And the thing is, the high school kids that are getting their hands on this don't even know what it is. That I heard a story on the radio today while I was driving about say that the nurse is asking, "Oh, have you ever done hydromorphone?" And the kid's like, "No." It's like, Dilaudid? No. She's like, "No, never done Dilaudid." Diddlies? Oh yeah, or dillies? Oh yeah, of course we do dillies.
Yeah, they're just really,
Which is the slang street term.
yeah, they're just
right?
really powerful painkillers. Yeah.
Yeah. No, but they do them for fun,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah, because
It's like,
they
yeah,
make
no,
you
you're
feel all fucking numb and shit. And you're like, yeah.
heroin in a pill, baby.
Yeah.
Remember when they were reduced to robo tripping? That was so much easier, so much better.
Robo tripping? What's robo tripping?
You just drink a bunch of Robitussin and get all fucked up.
Yeah, because the cough syrup has dextromethorphan in it, right?
Yeah.
And it in small quantities, it's a topical analgesic. It'll numb your throat to ease the pain that you're feeling from the coughing and shit, right?
Yeah.
In larger quantities, like if you dose a quarter to half the bottle, it's a very powerful hallucinogen.
Yeah, robo tripping used to be
stupid,
fun as
too.
fuck.
It also makes your brain not work as well or fast.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucked up. So yeah. And I think we speed ran most of my topics there. That was pretty good. Apparently, this show can be done in about 15 minutes.
Oh yeah.
Maybe you should just do that for your videos, man. Just make 15-minute videos, you blasting through topics, making a little quip about each one.
Just speed run.
Start doing more short videos, man. Do some actual videos. I miss your videos.
Oh, too kind. I'll see what I can do.
You know you can do it. If you don't want to do the editing side of it, just fucking hire some guy on Fiverr to do the editing.
Actually, the editing was the fun part, man.
Oh, well then.
Yeah, I enjoyed the editing.
You didn't enjoy the talking?
No, I mean, look, the editing gives me gems like this.
Tears for the tear god, salt for the salt throne, and gas the leaf tribe.
Yeah, that's why you always finish your fucking your videos. I love that.
That was before Scooby lost his mind.
You know what?
So, yeah.
I have Discord open. Scooby posted something while we were chatting.
Oh no. He's probably in there watching us stream, fuming. Good. Stay mad, Scoobs. Stay mad if you're watching, buddy.
He's posted. Where is it here? So someone called Philosopher's Voice Virginia said, "Let you all know, I'm going out of politics and drama. Thanks for having me, and thanks for the friends I have made. But Sir Wolfie is dead, and I must move on to reach my goals. Thanks again." And then Scooby331 said, "Hey everyone, don't suppose any of you would care to inform me of why Wolfie, 1, left, and 2, felt it necessary to announce it here."
Who the fuck is Sir Wolfie?
I have no idea. Polish Warlord said, "I didn't even know he left." And Cranky Old Goat said, "According to the mutual servers, he is still in Minions of the Zoo." Oh, there you go. He's one of the Minions of the Zoo.
Why do you have so many furries in your Discord, Craig? What is happening?
I have Scooby because I never fucking removed him, and every once in a while he pops up. That's all. I also have Tom Dark, C7 Viper, the Y-Files. Oh, that's something I wanted to ask you. Did you end up watching the Y-Files on Ashkenazi video that I sent you the link to? Twig?
Wait, not Ashkenazi, Anunnaki.
Anunnaki, not Ashkenazi. Sorry, I get.
Yeah, I tried.
What's the difference?
I tried to watch it. It wasn't what I wanted it to be, I guess.
Yeah. You want a little
Like-
bit more deep, a little less lighthearted.
No, I wanted it less entirely made up. Like they went into this whole thing about telling a story about a single person who lived on, planet X or whatever. And
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what good does this do me? Right?
Well, he's trying
I
to
don't
give the
care about
background. He's
armor.
trying to give you the background of the Anunnaki and what they were supposed to have done, and Nibiru and all that sort of stuff. And the guy who wrote the original story of Nibiru and the Anunnaki and that kind of stuff. And then, so that's their whole thing, right? They present a story that's supernatural or occult in nature, or weird, and then they say, but is it true? And then they go through the different things that maybe make it, maybe you shouldn't believe it because of this, or maybe you should believe it because of this. So
This
I
was
like Y-Files for that reason, because it's not just like Art Bell fucking coast to coast.
See, but I love Coast to Coast.
So do I. But I mean,
Art Bell was the man.
I liked it too, but I think it was just a little bit too, I don't know.
Have you guys ever listened to Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis?
No.
Check him out. That is, he started around the same time that Art Bell did with Coast to Coast, maybe a little after that. Really good. You'll love his opening monologues, guaranteed. He's on Spotify. Just look up Ground Zero with Clyde Lewis.
Cool.
Can't recommend it enough.
After
So
Coast
the
to
Y-Files
Coast,
put out a video every week. It's about 30. Oh, excuse me, sorry. I'm an old man. I get tired easily. It's about 30, 40 minutes. Tonight's was the Black Pyramid in Antarctica. I don't know if you're aware of that. Underground, there's a Black Pyramid in Antarctica. That's
yeah.
Yeah, it's a power source for charging UFOs, apparently. So he went into that whole story and the people who broke the news, kind of thing.
Well, I remember the it's from X, Pox. Maybe you were there. The guy who swore his dad fucking was some sort of scientist in Antarctica, and had all this shit, and like he had some pretty like convincing like stuff.
Yeah.
That suggested, at the very least, his dad was a scientist in Antarctica, right?
Yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, they go into this in the Y-Files that this guy was a scientist. He worked for Bell Labs, and he was brought up there to work in you try and figure out how it was that the Black Pyramid was supposed to work. And his son, showed all the documents. Says, yes, this was my father. Yes, this is his record of work. He had all the documents showing that his father did indeed work for Bell Labs in Antarctica.
Like plaques and badges and shit,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah, exactly.
But yeah,
it's
I don't
compelling,
remember.
but I mean, it's still just a story, right? That his father told. Yeah,
sure. And I don't remember him saying that it was definitively a power source. I remember him saying that they have like people that they've dragged from the third world go in there to see if there's a trap to set it off, because there's all kinds of terrible shit, and like they lose 100 people a year trying to figure out this underground pyramid thing, because it keeps changing.
I feel like this was something that was on X, because there's a good story.
Yes.
There's a good story
100%.
from X that talks about this.
Yeah, that's exactly the guy. I was wondering if you were actually there, present while it was happening, because I know you loved X for a long time.
Yeah, I wasn't. I didn't get to watch it, type it up in real
on.
time, but yeah, I've read it. I've read through it before. It's an interesting story. I want it to be real, but who knows? You know what I mean? X is so full of bullshit. You can't.
Yeah, but it's probably the most interesting board there on 4chan.
Oh, even that one's got shit up now. Like
it's all bad. At least they've moved on from how do I fuck an alien? How do I fuck a succubus? Now they just
Suck Jen will never die.
Yeah.
the succubus general.
I fucked a black-eyed kid. Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, no, like the photograph of the ice spider.
I haven't seen that.
I don't remember
Yeah,
that
they're
one.
like
Find it.
14 plus feet tall. They're colloquially called ice spiders, even though they only have 5 legs, but the legs are long and creepy and mechanical-ish. And yeah,
Find it.
they can move really fast across the ice, and you got to be very careful. Like you can't go far from the base. For some reason, they won't go where the bases are, but if you
Well,
leave
this
the
is
base,
in Antarctica, yeah?
yeah.
Yeah. I think Y-Files has covered that too. Seriously, go check their back catalog. They've got good videos. Like,
Uh,
yeah, you got to get past the sort of the quirks of the channel.
They're
Because
condescendingly
it's presented in a
skeptical.
very specific type of way, and you've got to be able to deal with that.
Yeah, like from oh man, did you see Graham Hancock and fucking Diddler on Joe
Diddler.
Rogan? What the fuck's his
Oh
name?
yes, I did. Yes, I did. Yeah.
It was fucking terrible
It was.
because Graham Hancock keeps saying, "Here's a guy that found a thing, and he was ridiculed, and his like his career was destroyed. He continued searching for it, and now everyone's like, now it's actually discovered to be he was completely
established
correct.
historical fact what he was proposing. Yes.
Yeah." And the guy kept saying, "Well, you know, we in the archaeological community don't do that. We aren't so condescendingly skeptical that we dismiss every new thing." It's like,
But you fucking did.
and then he keeps showing them another example of it, and
Yeah.
he keeps saying, "Yeah, but now we accept that information." But when it first came out and challenged it, he was met with the same condescending derisions, right? Not just the skeptical nature of, that's interesting, but I'm not convinced. Let's look further. It's more like, no, you're stupid. You're stupid and gay for thinking that. Like, they're really terrible. And the thing is, Diddler was doing the exact same thing to Graham Hancock the whole show.
Yeah, I saw that.
Right.
And he's like, he'd show, like, him and Rogan would be looking at photos. He said, that doesn't, he says, you don't think that looks like, you know, man-made structure? And like, I'm looking at him like, the guy's being willfully ignorant or he's being dishonest. Those are clearly fucking steps, like this underwater structure.
Yeah.
It's clearly carved as fucking stairs. You can tell it's clearly steps. And he's like, no, rocks erode and they take some weird, very strange shapes. Fuck off, man. Well, I'd like to see
a staircase doesn't exist in nature, bro.
That, like, you know, ceramics and there aren't any ceramics. What we do have is what we have. You're saying because you don't see ceramics or fucking tools that it obviously wasn't a fucking man-made structure? Give me a break.
No, yeah, nature abhors a straight line. So to have 3, 4, 5 of them in a row, all evenly spaced, the exact same size, with, like, you know, a framing structure on the outside of it, it's like, that's a fucking staircase.
Yeah.
Waves didn't do that.
No.
And I think part of it, is like, he didn't seem very well versed in, like, the biology when they were discussing the seeds.
Yeah.
And neither does Joe Rogan, to be honest, right? Like, they're talking about selection and, how did the plants know to genetically do this? No, are you fucking retarded? When you grab a whole bunch of plants from one place and some of those seeds shatter off, the only ones you have left are the ones that are already predisposed to cling.
Yeah.
So when you plant them, you're going to have way more clingers. That's just like, it's the plant didn't do anything. You did.
Yeah. And then he started he wrote an article where he's basically saying that Hancock's hypothesis is rooted in white supremacy and the story of Atlantis and the story of the people being, you know, they're all white. I'm like, he says, why would you? I'd never put anything in terms of race. All I said was there was an advanced culture prior to the Ice Age. And it was destroyed. And the people who survived that advanced culture passed their knowledge on to hunter-gatherers. That's all that was ever proposed. Never said these things were, you know, he never said that they were using alien technology or fucking robots or fucking flying machines or anything like that. He just said, look, there's clearly signs that there have been advanced cultures pre-Ice Age, pre hunter gatherer, and were wiped out in some way. And that's all. And he just kept saying, look, I never said that. And he was trying to conflate what he was proposing with more fantastical claims than he made. And yeah, it was frustrating to watch for sure.
Yeah, and like there is the really fucked up thing in the geological record, right? You know how like when you start carving downwards into the earth, you find strata?
Yeah.
Right? There is a line that you will find at the same depth everywhere in North America that's like a half an inch of just ash.
Yeah.
That depth is approximately 13,000 years ago.
Yeah.
Suggesting that during that time, the entire continent was on fire.
Right. Probably some sort of volcanic event or a meteor or something like that.
Yeah. Right. And it's like, if there was anything there, it all got anything that could be reduced to ash was reduced to ash. Anything that could be shattered was shattered. Like, if it wasn't carved in the fucking stone, it's gone.
Yeah.
And well, here's these things carved in the stone. Yeah. But fuck that. You're stupid.
Yeah.
Like,
it's all stupid. Ugh. Anything else planned for the weekend? Yourself?
I should go to the gym tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Pox?
I'm doing gym Monday to Friday these days, so I'm not going tomorrow.
Oh. Pox, you got plans?
I'm starting at my new gym on Monday. That'll be fun.
Oh, that's right. Okay, and you're going to get me a 7-day pass or something like that? It's like a free pass for...
I can do that.
But we have to set it up for like a day. Oh, see, but you're not going on Sundays. Sundays would be the best day for me to come out to where you are.
I can go on a Sunday. I could say, you know what? I'll skip my Monday or I'll skip my Friday and I'll go on Sunday instead. So I'll go Sunday.
Okay,
Monday.
I don't want to mess with your programming, right? And we'll figure out what we're gonna do, you know, for a day and a video.
Yeah, why not?
Try and time it with one of our. Oh yeah, that's something I forgot. So the only good thing about my Planet Fitness is earlier this calendar year they actually did get a leg press machine, like a proper leg press with a sled,
cool.
not the stupid one where you sit in it and you're sitting upright and you put your feet on the plate and you push the chair away. I hate that fucking thing.
That's the one I'd like to use.
Oh no, I like you get on the floor, you're lying upside down like you're about to be launched into space, and then you press the sled away from
the hammer strength ones where you press it and it's got like bars where you can put actual plates on it. Yeah, I like that one too. Yeah.
Oh, that is so crazy. Like the stretch I can get on that. Like it's not even about how much weight I can push. I'm pretty flexible and I can get my knees almost all the way to my shoulders.
Yeah.
It's fucking great. Oh, so good for my hip. Did we lose Pox or is he just like eating or something?
I was eating noodles. You were gonna ask me something, and then Craig started talking. What were you gonna ask?
Oh
yeah, no, we're just weekend plans. The rest of your weekend, or
well, okay. So, story time. I've been doing side jobs for this dude. This guy named Irv. He's 89 years old or 82 years old. My bad. He just told me a story about his grandfather, who was a blacksmith not too far from here, who passed away when he was 89. But anyway, this old man, he had an electric sign shop for like 30 years. He has been a machinist since he was 12 years old. When he was 8, 9, 10 years old, his grandpa taught him how to blacksmith. He can build anything. He designed and built his own house. I mean, and he gave me a tour of it the last time I was over there, and it is fucking amazing. Like, it's the first house I've ever been in. Everything is symmetrical, from the spacing of the doors, the way the doors open. All the walls are symmetrical. He's got 8 octagons in his house, and each one has a drop ceiling above it and a step down to get into it. They've all got windows. They're all it's amazing. But I've been doing work for him. I think I'm going to go out and do that because the sign shop that he had, he's basically been renting it out and using it for storage. But the guy who owns it is now renting it out to a lawn care guy. So he's got to get out. And I've been helping him kind of organize all of his stuff. So I've been learning about machine presses and punches and just all kinds of wild shit, helping him sort that out. I put some warehouse racks up in his barn for him. It's really weird because when I met him, it was just kind of like this is side money, but like I'm really starting to like get attached to this dude. Like he feels like a third grandpa. You know what I mean?
Oh, nice. That's cool.
So I think that's what I'm doing tomorrow.
He's going to reveal to you that he was like a golden age superhero, and he's going to show you his fucking Herkimer battle Jimmy that he has in his underground lair.
Bro, look.
And he'll say
machining,
woodworking. You need to take on the role of the machinist and go out there and fight crime.
No, I ain't got the mind for all that. But machining, woodworking, blacksmithing, motherfucker kept bees. He built a Charger or a Challenger by himself.
Oh wow!
Designed and built it. I've got pictures of it. I can shoot them to you in DMs later. He's got an old AMX in his barn that he's trying to restore now at 82 years old. Right?
That's awesome.
Beekeeping. He farmed. He had his own fishery. Like this dude has done more in his life in 82 years of life than me, you, and Irving are gonna do, even if we live to 100 collectively. Guaranteed.
Yeah. I don't do shit. That's no doubt. Because I don't do anything.
You just 3D print it. Well, fucking blacksmith.
I'm not a handy fellow. I can draw a little bit. I can sing all right, but I'm not handy.
Have we lost Pox again?
No, I think he just finished talking. But I'm about finished talking too. I'm getting tired, man. It's like 1:15 almost.
Yep.
Yeah,
my mic decided to take a shit for a second there. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah, we got you.
Yeah, I was saying I'm handy when it comes to minor stuff, and that's a recent development. Like over the last 10 years, like I couldn't turn a wrench or swing a hammer not too long ago. You know what I mean? But doing the work that I'm doing now, man, I'm starting to get to the point where just about I think I can do just about anything as long as it doesn't involve measurement. That's where I fuck up. I can't measure. If you have something pre-measured and you want me to cut it, I can flip the saw on, I can cut it, it'll be straight, it'll fit right into place. You ask me to measure something first and I'm going to fuck it up, guaranteed.
I like to put it this way. I could not build you a deck, but I would be a useful set of hands for someone who can build a deck, right? And we'd build a deck together, right?
Yeah. You're a laborer. You're not a.
I'm not a designer.
Yeah. No, I'm not a tradesperson. I'm just strong enough and can wield the tools and follow instructions.
Yeah, I'm pretty good with like IKEA furniture. I can put that shit together pretty well, but that's about as handy as I get.
I've gotten to the point too where I'm starting to realize that I have amazing networking skills. Like, so been working with this Irv guy. I've got a kid I work with. He's like 22. I think he just turned 21, but he's like 21, 22, going to school for machining and stuff. And he was trying to figure out whether he wanted to keep going if he wanted to keep going with machining or stop taking that, get a job doing light machining and start taking courses on welding. And I'm like, bro, go for welding. And I could talk to Irv, and Irv can teach you machining because he's got all the equipment in his basement, every like industrial machining equipment in his basement. So like I've hooked him up with that. I've got other people that I've hooked up with mechanics. Like I know enough people where somebody's like, yeah, I'd like to do this, or I'd like to learn that, or I need that. And I can be like, well, I know this guy and I know that guy, and this chick might be able to help you with that.
That's cool.
Yeah. Start like an agency.
Yeah.
I don't know if it goes that far, but that, and apparently I've got a head for marketing so the lawn care guy that's renting the shop that Irv has, I've been talking to him, and this guy did marketing for another lawn care service for a long time. And the shop that he was doing marketing out of had a 95% sales rate, which basically means they talked to 100 people, 95 of them were going to sign up for service. And we got to talking, and the company that I'm working for now, that's what I wanted to do for them, because when it, like, the numbers and stuff, I'm not going to be good with that, but I know people enough to know what works, that all you have to do is know the service or the product and be able to sell it, like talk it up, answer questions. You have to be able to kind of redirect any doubts or anything like that people have. And I'm really fucking good at it. And I wanted to do it for the company I'm at now, and talking to this guy who's done marketing, I told him what I had wanted to do for my company, and he's like, that's pretty much all I did for this other company. So I kind of feel like I might be able to get into marketing, once the horse finally breaks its leg, so I don't have to be put down. I might have something I can fall back on a little bit.
Yeah, do it.
It's just a matter of finding the right somebody who's gonna give me a chance to do it, because like right now I have no formal education. I'm a high school dropout. I've fucking covered in tattoos, and I'm borderline retarded on purpose, like, because it's more fun that way, right? So it's gonna take I'm gonna have to figure out how to market myself to people with all these drawbacks.
Dude, you're literally describing starting your own agency.
Yeah.
Just start just start doing it and say, oh yeah, I know a guy. Give me $50. Here's his number. You're good.
Yeah, do junk punks on the side.
Yeah, that's the plan. I don't know how well that's gonna work out, because the guy that I was gonna try to partner up with, I think he's kind of getting cold feet about it, because he's got some other personal stuff going on. Can't fault him for it. I get it. You know what I mean? But I don't have quite the means to do what I want at the moment. I don't know how much time it'll take to get what I need to get started.
Yeah.
So
yeah, make it a medium to long term plan then.
yeah, pretty much. But I'll figure it out, man. I got some plans in the works. We'll figure it out. All those years of selling drugs back in the day, they got to mount up for something. You know what I mean? That's experience. Allegedly.
In Minecraft. Twin, I gotta call it tonight, man. I'm fucking.
Yeah.
You sound like you're dying, Craig.
Let's end the show. Okay.
I'm an old man. I'm sorry. I can't stay up this late.
Pox, thanks for coming and giving us the skinny on Helldivers. Nobody buy it.
At least not until they reverse course. God damn it.
Yeah.
Craig, next week, ammunition.
That's the plan.
All right. Thanks everyone who stuck it out. There's still people watching, believe it or not. Have a good night. We'll see you next week. Craig's channel, links in the description. Hitting the buttons. Take it easy, boys.